We have a lot of visitors today from the supporters of the Berwick Football Club through the Berwick Coterie, and welcome to those visitors, and we hope that you have a very enjoyable day. You're enjoying your luncheon in there, a few cold drinks, and we'll see Berwick, no doubt, go out and beat Moorabbin. Pardon?
Quarter time, Ron Dobson.
Oh, good. Dobby. And we've had 3 games here today. For the first game this morning we had was an under-11 side, and they were beaten by Parkmore. Unfortunately, the Berwick under-11s went down to Parkmore. The reserves battled on very, very well, the Berwick reserves. They really made a game of it, although Moorabbin were too strong. They're only one place above the Berwick reserves in the seconds list, and Berwick found it fairly hard, but although the boys did battle on, they're just out in front of the rooms here at the moment, the Berwick reserves, and waiting for the Berwick senior side to go through their warm-ups, and sooner or later they'll be out in the ground. John Wright is up with us again today. John, welcome, and just a few comments on the ground and anything else that you might see of interest at this stage.
Thanks, Bruce. Yeah, this is a beautiful day for football. There's hardly any breeze. Bruce, the ground is in excellent condition considering the weather we've had. The curator who's worked on that centre patch has done a fantastic job for us. It's held up really well, and this is our 3rd home game without having that usual heap of mud in the centre. There's obviously quite an atmosphere here today with having a coterie group here. They've come along, as you mentioned earlier, to a luncheon, and it's great to see them all along. We just certainly hope that they stay with us and support us in the way they have been doing in the future weeks, because this is going to be the hard time of the year. We need support, we need sponsors, and anyone that's interested in either having a sign on the fence, as you'll probably be able to see them around there today, and we'll mention their names as we go through them, or there's possibilities to sponsor different players, and all they have to do is either speak to any committee men, or especially myself or Barry Johnson or David Wilson, and we'll certainly accommodate them in that respect.
Yes, thanks, John. Berwick out here at the Archbound Reserve, we've been very lucky to not have had any wet weather on Sundays rather, which makes it hard on the ground. We've had a lot of rain out in the Berwick area, which has kept the ground green and reasonably soft, but if we'd had it on Sundays, John, for home games, the ground cuts up, doesn't it? Anyway, we'll be back with the teams for you in just a short while, and we're just waiting on the Moorabbin and Berwick side. Out onto the ground, the Berwick side, led by Captain Coach Peter Allen, have come out onto the ground. The umpires have been out for about 60 seconds, about a minute, and the umpires today are Dennis Blake and Mike Tolong. For the boundary umpires are Cassidy and Fulton, and our goal umpires Baricevic and Griffin. That's a tongue twister to start with, John, Baricevic. Our reserve side is going inside the rooms now, and you can see the Berwick senior side. For all those interested, there is a number change. Number 10 is Ian Owen. First game for Berwick today. He's played in practice matches and earlier on and hurt himself and has been injured. And welcome to Ian into the Berwick side today, and he's used Kim McGill's number. Kim McGill's been cleared to Narry Warren, and Ian Owen will play in number 10.
Daryl Tesso was chosen in the senior side, but he isn't out there, Bruce. I'm just wondering whether, yes, he played in the reserves. I'm wondering whether Matthew Johnson, yes, he's out on the ground. He's in the middle of that pack out there, so Matthew Johnson's obviously decided that he's fit enough, and the club officials have decided to let him risk that knee and hope it stays okay. We certainly need him. He's by far our best player, was a tremendous asset to us last year, winning our best and fairest, and also being the runner-up in the VFA Second Division Association best and fairest. And we certainly need him out there. Let's hope everything's okay with him, Bruce.
Yeah, Matt Johnson was missed last week against Waverley very, very much, and also Norm Tivendale. Norm Tivendale's still out on suspension. Matt Johnson, I believe, yesterday went through a very, very vigorous fitness test in the morning, John. The club actually trained Saturday morning, and Matt Johnson went through a very, very big strenuous test on that knee, pulled up okay, and then during the afternoon when everything had cooled down, he was declared fit after seeing that the knee didn't play up once it got cold. Yeah, and Matt Johnson was declared fit at 6 o'clock and has been named in the side, so the Berwick lineup is pretty well as is, with Ian Owen and Matt Johnson in the side. We're just waiting on the Moorabbin side to come out onto the ground. The Moorabbin coach is Sam Holt, a non-playing coach. Are you off now or on? Beautiful day here for football at Berwick, not too much wind. The last time I was up on the roof here it was a very, very windy day and a very hard day to play and also to commentate. The people from Moorabbin have a nice little banner down the front here, which the camera's probably not pointing at the moment because having just a little bit of change of power leads, and the Moorabbin side are just about to come out onto the ground. Little children there with a Moorabbin banner, good thing to see. Can you see Ian Owen out there now, John? Have you got the camera on Ian Owen? Down there in the round about the full forward position. He's the new player wearing Kim McGill's number 10. Berwick side all look fairly fit, and here comes the Moorabbin side out onto the ground, led by Graham Stewart. The Moorabbin side look to be fairly tall, fairly solid side, and no doubt they'll be out there to try their utmost. Whereabouts are Moorabbin on the ladder, John? Do you know? I'm putting under pressure here while you flick through the record. I should know myself. Oh yeah, Berwick are 7th and Moorabbin are 8th.
Moorabbin did draw with Waverley.
Moorabbin did draw with Waverley, so we'll see a big one here today, the Arch Brown Reserve. Sam Holt. Who coached these mob last year? Calvin, didn't he? Who coached them last year? Moorabbin. Greg Wells, that's right, yeah, and Sam Holt. Wonder if he's in relation to Harold Holt. Ex-Port Melbourne, that's right, yeah, played with Port Melbourne, Sam Holt. Umpires have whistled them up. Want the two captains in to must have tossed. And Berwick are kicking to the cricket net end of the ground, the southern end of the north-south Arch Brown Reserve. Mick Shears is lined up at full back. John Curry in his usual position in back pocket. Richard Brown for Berwick is in the other back pocket. Matt Johnson centre half back. Ray Crook, is it? Half back flank, and Gary Scott on the other side there. In the centre we have Mick Dillon, I'd say. Tommy Crebin's roving. Peter Allen's in the centre for Berwick officially. Rod Ward on the on the ball. And Daryl Smith is lined up at centre half forward. See, Robert Trigg, I think, would be full forward. Neville Powell's out here on the forward flank, forward pocket. On the other pocket is Ian Owen.
Ian Owen's at full forward.
Ian Owen's at full forward, is he?
He's on the half forward.
Robbie Trigg is lined up probably in the forward pocket, I'd say, is it? Neville Powell's has come out to half forward flank. All playing a bit of strategy, these fellas, before they actually get in their position. And in just a short moment, umpire Dennis Blake just about to bounce the ball. The start of the big one between Moorabbin and Berwick. Umpire Dennis Blake bounced the ball up high. Up goes Rod Ward. He just misses the tap down that time from the Moorabbin player, and the Moorabbin got it out from the centre to the Moorabbin player at centre half forward there. is number 32 in Ross White. Ross White of Moorabbin with the ball now. It's just a short little pass straight out there. Already mixed ears a little bit behind the play there. Moorabbin take a mark. Their full forward has the ball now, and umpire brings them round, gets them to line up, and he'll come in and have a kick on the arch-bound reserve. The Moorabbin player with the ball, their full forward, runs in, puts on his right boot. Not a bad kick, up it goes, but it's a little bit offline, and will go through for 1 point. The umpire signals a point, and Moorabbin are the first to score with one behind.
Yes, Brown's taken the kick out for Berwick from the looking for McGreal. McGreal will come to half-back flank, takes a nice mark. He's got a 15-yard penalty. Got plenty of room. Takes a long kick, looking for Peter Allen down there in the centre, but over the back, good Robbie Trigg. He can't hold the ball. There's a pile-in of players and a scramble. Nothing's happening there. I think the umpire will blow the whistle and have a ball up. Yeah, this is umpire Tarons this time with the ball. He bounces it. Up they go. Peter Allen comes out of the pack, can't get rid of it. Dillon tries to get his boot to it. He's scragged. Tommy Crebon out on the outside. The back looking there for Ian Owen at full forward. He can't hold the ball. It comes loose for Moorabbin. It's punched away by Crebon. Here's Neville Powers. Neville Powers finds Peter Allen in the centre. He's able, can't get through. He's caught. Caught with the ball. Yes, he's paid it. Held it too long. Tried to go too far. And the Moorabbin come away with the kick on the half-back line. Centre half forward, but Matty Johnson punches away from behind him. He can't get clear. The Moorabbin come away with the ball, looking for their full forward, but over the back. No, there's no mark paid. It was Mick Shears, but he wasn't paid. Mick Shears again trying to pick up the ball, but there's a pile up of players, and then he will get a free kick. So his handball's out to Matty Johnson, who's on his under half forward flank. Goes past, looking for Peter Allen, but it's a poor handball, and Allen can't get it. The Moorabbin player comes clear. Up the ball goes onto the forward line for Moorabbin. There's a scramble of players, and there'll be a free kick. Yes, again to Mick Shears.
Right, Johnny, yeah, nothing eventuating much at the moment. Mick Shears with the ball. Not a bad kick, right into the centre of the ground. Up they go. Nobody flies with the Moorabbin players, and player number 3 is Gary Atherton. Gary Atherton handballs across to Steve Patrick, who kicks it down there to his Moorabbin full forward in number 20, Brian Cathcart. Brian Cathcart with the ball now. Might be actually playing on John Kelly, that fellow, forward pocket player. Brian Cathcart with the ball. Just out in front, the Berwick back line have to stick really close by the look of this, the way this match is going to go. Cathcart comes in. It's a torpedo punt kick. In they go. They're not talking there. The two players flew together in Ward and Matty Johnson, but Matt Johnson with the ball. Short pass out here to Gary Scott. Gary Scott takes the mark. Handballs back into a player there, right into a heap of trouble. Puts him under pressure, and there's a bit of scrambly play on the half forward flank. Moorabbin seemed to pick it up through number 6 is Craig Morris, and he's run over the line and out of bounds with the ball. It's Craig Morris there, ran over the line with the ball, and the umpire will ball it in. In it comes now, up they go. Wardy in the ruck for Berwick, taps it down. Nobody can get it away but Moorabbin clearing it through their little rover. Number 22 is David Cathcart. Two brothers in the side, Johnny. And David Cathcart got a push in the back, and he has the ball for Moorabbin. Yeah, they're both rovers, that's right. Up they go. David Cathcart. Up they fly. And the Browns spoiled Callery again. Nobody down. Callery's been more or less kicked in the face, but he's okay. And they clear through Dillon. Dillon in the centre to Tommy Crebens, who handballs back to Peter Allen running past. Peter Allen with the ball now. Long driving kick looking for Kev Venville. But the Moorabbin player came in front of Kevin Venville that time and tapped the ball over the line and out of bounds.
He's throwing on the half forward flank here in the Berwick end. Peter Allen's got to go for the knock, or no, he can't get it. It's taken by Moorabbin again. It's one of the Cathcarts again. He's moved pretty quickly. Oh, good mark by Scott. Gary Scott's got the kick right on the wing position, right in front of our commentary box here. Kicks to the centre, looking for Trigg. Trigg's pushed in the back, and we'll get the free kick. Now he's got a lead there from Ian Owen, but he doesn't. He goes wide, looking for Powles. Powles is outmarked, behind, and away they go again. Looks loose there. Callery picks the ball up on the half-back line, gets it across to Shears. Shears handballs, looking for Dillon. Dillon's got the ball in the centre of the ground. There's a kick, looked for a lead there. Got a lead there from Venville, Kevin Venville. And Kevin runs around in circles, but he finally gets his boot to the ball. It's high in the air, so it's a 2-out duel. Owen nearly took the mark, but got pushed over. And the resultant free kick will go to the Moorabbin player, number 7 Graham Beattie.
Good player from Moorabbin, Graham. A good player, John Graham Beattie from Moorabbin. I remember him from last year, quite a good player. And he had David Cathcart with the ball, handballs across to his opponent there in number 15 is Steve Patrick. Steve Patrick gets it back to young Cathcart again on a short pass, but McGreal runs in front of him and takes a safe mark. Puts it right up to Daryl Smith, who was on his own, but the kick is off, and Daryl Smith takes a good mark. Number 8 for Berwick, a good strong mark. The kick went offline a little bit, but Smithy took a very good mark there. He's dead in front, about 45 metres out. Goes well back, he's coming around to line it up now. Daryl Smith, normally a very good kick. Never had much trouble with Smithy kicking for goal. In he comes, head over the ball, up she goes, and straight through the centre. Nobody moves. It's the first goal to be scored on the ground to Berwick, and Berwick are 1 goal. No behinds, leading Moorabbin at this stage, 1 point. What do you think about that, John?
Yeah, that was good mark by Smith in the centre half forward position there, and an equally nice kick. So that's given Berwick a 5-point advantage at the moment. They seem to be a little bit fast, the Moorabbin team. They seem to be running faster than the Berwick boys, but Berwick are starting to get the high marking going, and on this small ground they could probably get away with that, Bruce, rather than having to do so much running.
Right umpire Rod Blake balls it up in the centre of the ground. Wardy gets the tap down that time, but Moorabbin clearing it away from the centre through number 20, Brian Cathcart. Right down to the full forward position they go. The red Moorabbin player gets it across to Steve Patrick, who turns on his left foot. Kicks it high in the air, but safe there is Matt Johnson, who takes a safe mark right on the line. Looks for a handball, but decides not to. You can bring in the player back now, and handballs across to John Callery. Callery there clears it out, looking for Peter Allen, who gets in front and takes a good mark. He's grabbed round the neck as well, but Peter Allen has the ball already. Handballs across to Kevin Venville, centre ground, putting him under pressure. Can't quite get rid of it, and Moorabbin pick it up through number 5 in Jim Mercoulia. Jim Mercoulia has a big kick and straight. Who kicked that goal for Moorabbin, John? Was it number 5? Was it in the book here? It's Jim Mercoulia.
Yeah, work that one out.
Jim Mercoulia, but I hear the crowd calling out, good one, Stewie, so there may be a change there. But anyway, it's a Moorabbin goal, and they go to 1-1, 7 behinds, to leading Berwick 1 goal, 6 points.
Yes, that handball from Peter Allen put Venville under a lot of pressure there, and the result of that was that Moorabbin got clear, and away they went and kicked a goal. Now the ball's bounced in the centre, and it's Moorabbin that get the ball clear again from the centre, but Brown's coming in off that half-back flank, chasing the ball hard, can't pick it up. Carey finally gets in, but he's got pushed into the ground, and the umpire's going to ball up. This is umpire Blake. Ward in the ruck gets the knockout this time, but there's no one there except for the Moorabbin player. That's that Mercoulia again. And,
it looks like
yes,
Mercoulia,
but he's caught. Johnny Cowie caught him then, and will get the resultant free kick. Cowie on the half-back flank. Kicks towards the centre. There's who's in there? Peter Allen and 3 Moorabbin players. The ball's not clear. Ward gets the knockout from the centre. It's pushed back again by a Moorabbin player, but this time Ray Crook's on his own. Gets a lead from Trigg. Kicks out wide on the flank. Trigg's got to go hard, but he's bowled over out of the way, and Patchell from Moorabbin gets the ball. Gets clear, gets it across to Atherton. Handballs into the centre, across to Pollock. Pollock's got the kick, changes the direction of the play across the other side, but it's Tommy Crabbin with a great and timely mark right in the centre of the ground. He's got Cowie, but the handball's poor. Cowie couldn't quite pick it up. He's knocked across the ground, but it gets away to another Moorabbin player, and running through for Moorabbin is Graham Stewart. Has a kick for goal, but it's going to go out of bounds in the forward pocket for Berwick. Boundary umpire is going to throw it in. It's about 30 metres around from the Berwick goal. Ward in the ruck for Berwick. He gets the knockout. Comes down. Tried to have a kick off the ground from the Moorabbin player, but he couldn't get it. Brown forces his way through the pack. Gets the kick out looking for Gary Scott on the half-back flank. He takes the mark. He's got time to have a look, and he's found Trigg. No, Peter Allen cut across the front of Robbie Trigg, but Peter yelled, and Triggy was quick enough to stop and let him take the mark. Kicks long. Yeah, down there at Luxford. He couldn't get it, but here's Dillon moving in pretty quickly over to Alan. Alan's trying to get pressure again, but his break's clear. Has to get his kick, but there's no one down there. No one at all, and just two Moorabbin players on their own. Take the kick out from the goal square. And there's four Moorabbin players there, not a Berwick player. It gets a poor kick from the Moorabbin player, and Tommy Creven's got the chance for the breakthrough here, but he can't pick the ball up. He's tackled by three Moorabbin players. I think they must have more players on the ground than us, I think, Bruce.
Well, Berwick not minding their backmen or on the forward line at all there when that Moorabbin player had the ball to kick out. There wasn't a Berwick player on any of the men. He screwed it round. Anyway, the ball's right up on the Berwick back line now with a kick out from Matt Johnson towards wing position. Peter Allen races in and gives a fairly heavy tackle to number 6 and Craig Morris, and the umpire talking to Pete Allen, and he's giving the kick to Craig Morris, who plays on, drives it into the centre half forward position. Nobody can take the mark. Down it comes. Moorabbin pick it up and drop the ball. The umpire says play on. Kev Venville with it now. He can't get rid of it. Trying very hard to get. And here's number 5 again, Mercoulia. Mercoulia kicks it in there high. Up they go, but nobody down much. Matt Johnson in front tries to pick it up, and number 29 from Moorabbin picks it up, and he's jobbed it through for a goal. Steve Pappas put it through. He did a sort of a Mick Conlon, then he rode the pack pretty well. Johnny picked it up and dropped it through. And Moorabbin go on to 2 goals, 1, leading Berwick 1 goal only.
Yeah, they seem to have too many runners at the moment, Bruce. There's 3 or 4 of them running for the ball where the Berwick guys seem to be 1 out just at the moment. Anyway, the ball's back in the centre, and it's umpire Blake. No, it's not. It's the other umpire. It's Tolan's with the ball. He's going to bounce.
Mike Tolan.
Bobby Ward gets the knock, but it goes straight down to the Moorabbin player, and he just runs loose and unattended out of the centre, kicks to the half forward flank, and it's got to be a free kick to the Moorabbin player. I think it's number 32, Ross Wright. Yes. He's not too far out. Anyway, he's lines up, takes his kick. It's not a bad kick. It's hasn't got the accuracy. He's got the distance when it's gone through for 1 point. Mick Shears tried to take the kick before the goal umpire had finished waving the flags, and the central umpire make him go back and have his kick. Now he's got a lead here from Johnson. Johnson in front takes a good hand pass right across to Richard Brown. Richard Brown looking for Crookie. Handballs across to on his own. John Calloway was talking to him, telling him to keep going, but he didn't. He handballed across to him. There's 3 of them running down there. He's got a chance. Yep. Right down the centre, but no one there for Berwick. Capable of taking the mark.
Berwick back pocket play, forward pocket play.
And number 15 is Steve Patrick of Moorabbin. Picks up the ball, although it has gone through for a point. And it's Graham Stewart takes the kick out. Gets the handball back, but it's a loose one. He puts him back under pressure, but Stewart gets the ball again and has the time to get his kick this time. And there's 2 Moorabbin fellas on their own on the wing.
Brian Cathcart.
Brian Cathcart again, one of them, takes a kick looking for his half-forward flank, and he finds a full forward, which is Lett. He gets it across, and Moorabbin run west. Again, it's Mercoulia gets the kick, and that's another goal to Moorabbin. So Moorabbin go on to 3 goals to 20 to Berwick, and 1 goal, 7 points.
Very disappointing play by the Berwick players there, especially a forward line right back there, not a forward pocket player covering a Moorabbin player at all. And Moorabbin went on to get through 3 players, went on and scored a good goal. Ball's back in the centre of the ground. I see 2 very heavy men coming into the ground the other side there. John by the ANZ sign, Mr. John Dalglish and Mr. John Sullivan, 2 of the critics of the game.
Guys that hate Berwick but always comes.
Yeah, that's right. Up they go. Wardy taps it down. They clear again from the centre, Moorabbin, doing it easily at this stage. Gary Scott tries from the back to take the mark, but Mercoulia hits it over towards number 32 in Ross White. Ross White gets it back across to Brian Cathcart, the little rover for Moorabbin. He turns round and hooks it back, and I'll tell you what, he's dropped it through, and there's another goal to Moorabbin. Moorabbin doing it very easy at this stage, just getting it away from the centre. There's no No Berwick players that can put up a block to these Moorabbin fellas at this stage, and Moorabbin score another goal. They go on to Berwick 1 goal, 7 points, a trailing Moorabbin. I just wait for the goals. How many goals will they kick, John? Is that 4? 4 goals, 26 points. And the ball's back in the centre with Mike Tollong about to bounce it up. Up it goes. Tollong high, bounces it high. Wardy tries to get the tap down. They can't get it out. Moorabbin players here again. Kicked off the ground by Moorabbin that time, and you'll see Neville Powers trying there to get in front of it, but number 29 from Moorabbin picks it up, hits it into the towards the half forward flank. It's handball back across there, and it's all Moorabbin still. There again, the Moorabbin player got caught with the ball, but across to McGreal. He handballs back to his teammate, back to McGreal again. He gets onto his right foot and drops it down there, and the ball is nearly taken by the Moorabbin player, and it's pushed over the line and out of bounds in the forward pocket. Down the umpire right on the point post, throws it in. Up they go again. Nobody tries for Berwick to leave off the ground. Number 11 takes the from Moorabbin. Number 11 in Sid Pappas, and he snaps it through for 1 behind. It takes Moorabbin on to 4 goals, 3, leading Berwick 1-1, 7 points.
Mick to take the kick out. Looks out there for Neville Powers, who's in the ruck at the moment. He takes the mark on the half-back flank. Looking for Scott. Gary Scott's got the ball out to the captain, Coach Peter Allen. He dummies around his player, handballs across, but it's run loose, and the Moorabbin players are able to get clear. Although it's gone out to bounds on that half forward flank. Boundary umpire to throw it in. Peter Allen tried to burst his way through. He couldn't, but it comes loose, and Moorabbin again break loose from the packs. Ball goes across. Matty Johnson can't handle it. It comes to the ground. Lett for Moorabbin gets the handball across to his half-forward flank, and he's putting it back across to the centre, but it's knocked out of his hands by Ray Crook. Picked up by Neville Powers. Matt Johnson gets a beautiful call. Lovely kick out here to Robbie Trigg on his own on the half-forward flank. He's got plenty of time to have a look. Has a look here, looking for Robbie Ward. He can't take it. The ball goes out of bounds, down in the forward pocket. That's young Luxford down in that other forward pocket. Had a haircut. Obviously, Neville Powers is running in the ruck, Bruce. Ward goes for the knockout. McGreal, he can't scramble it through. And the umpire are going to take it and have another ball up. Trigg gets the knockout. It comes down to the ground. No one can get. Dillon clears it out of the pack. Takes a snapshot for goal, and I think he might have kicked it. Yes, it's a goal to Dillon. He picked that up out the pack and had a snapshot, left foot snap for goal, and it's another goal on the board for Berwick. Takes Berwick on to 2 goals, 1. That's 13 points to Moorabbin. 4 goals, 3, 27. Well, Berwick just in the right position that time, Johnny, to pick up the ball and to snap it through McDillon without a great deal of trouble. If they can get clear, the Moorabbin players still getting clear and going on with the job. Berwick finding it very hard to pick the ball up and get it clear. The Moorabbin players showing a lot more desperation. Mike Tollong, the umpire, sends it up. Powles is in the ruck for Berwick. He gets a tap down, looking for Dillon again, who picks it up and gets it away. The left foot pass there to John McGreal, and it's in the back. Gets pushed, and number 38 for the Wickers picks it up in Johnny McGreal. He drives it back in the centre, looking for Triggy, but across in front of him comes this player number 5 for them, Mercoulia. He gets it into the centre of an unattended player in Craig Morris. Craig Morris turns round onto his right foot and kicks it down there, looking for the full forward. Mick Shears is about 3 feet in front of him, and underneath the ball, and the Moorabbin full forward in turn round. I'll pick him up in a minute. Has the ball. Number 18, George Lett. George Lett with the ball. He'll come in to have his shot. George Lett comes in, lines him up, bang, and there it is, straight through the centre. It's a goal to George Lett. Moorabbin go on to 5 goals, 3. Leading Berwick 2-1-13, about halfway through the first quarter.
Oh, Berwick, you can do better than this.
Ball back in the centre of the ground. Mike Tolong with the ball, coming in. Up it goes high again. There's Powell's trying to get the tap down again. And the Moorabbin players grab too high, and he gets the free kick in Cathcart. Cathcart with the ball now on the right foot, kicks it down there, looking for his player, and they're all over the place. And Matt Johnson comes in and gives a fairly hard tackle there, and the ball just dribbles out and goes across the line right in front of the Berwick Social Club. Umpire throws it in. In comes Neville Powell. They both come down the front of the pack, and it comes over the line again, right in front of the Social Club again, just in front of Robbie Trigg. Boundary umpire with the ball. In it comes. Neville Powell's in the ruck. Up they go. The Moorabbin player gets the top down. Tap down that time, and number 11 said Pappas. Brown picks it up for Berwick. Handballs across to Kevin Venville, who gets his kick, and the ball is over the line and out of bounds again, and neither club can clear it away. The boundary umpire has the ball again, and he'll throw it in. Powell still in the ruck for Berwick. In it comes. Two redheads together. Powell gets the tap down. It goes out to Toby Crevin, a great player for Berwick. Handballs across to Peter Allen, who gets on the left foot. Ian Owen out in his own, and takes a good safe mark. Ian Owen wearing the number 10 Guernsey for the Wickers, playing his first game, and drives it in. And here it is. It's not a bad kick, but it's just missed out, and it just goes inside the goal post, and it's only 1 point. So Berwick 2-2 now, trailing Moorabbin 5-3.
Yes, they're well into this first quarter, and but 3-2 down. Bruce, they've got to make a concerted effort here and try and get a couple on before quarter time. But it's a short kick out by the Moorabbin player. He drops it. Dillon chases him, catches him, but it's knocked back to the full-back. He can't hold it. There's another scramble of players, but at last Moorabbin do clear it out there. But Peter Allen intercepts, gets a handball across. Another handball to Robbie Trigg, who can kick into an open goal, and it's a goal. The handball was from Ian Owen. He caught one after he'd handballed it, but Robbie Trigg got the goal, and I think that's all that Ian needs to get up and run back towards his position. Yeah, that's a handy one for us, Bruce, at this stage of the game.
A real good play that time. See, this football today, if you make a mistake on that with this handball on the on your back line, a mistake usually turns out to be a goal, and that's exactly what Moorabbin did. They made a mistake. The Berwick fellas made most through Dillon, and Ian Owen and Robbie Trigg made the most of it and got a very, very good goal. Up she goes in the centre again. Neville Powell's in the ruck for Berwick. Gets the tap down again. Toby Crevens runs over the top of the ball, but Gary Scott comes in, picks it up, gets it to Peter Allen. He's pushed in the back, and Peter Allen gets the free kick. Handballs across to Powell. I'd think Allen should take the kick myself, but anyway, he's out there doing it, not me. Tommy Crevens takes the mark from Powell's, back to Powell's again with a handball. Powell's in trouble, caught with a ball, and he was caught, bad play by Neville Powell's that time. He's caught with the ball, and Moorabbin through Cathcart will go into attack. Ball right in the centre of the ground. Kevin Venville on the mark. You've got to come back, young man, and play over that mark. The umpire was right there. Wasn't a bad try, but he couldn't get away with it. Graham Stewart with the ball now. Handballs across to his teammate there, and he gets it out to a Moorabbin player on his own on the wing. In he comes, drives it straight into the goal square, and Richard Brown on his own takes the mark. Back it goes on that far side of the ground in front of the Berwick Tatson sign. There's two Berwick players, and Powell takes the mark, made up for that bad mistake in the centre then, and handballs to Mick Dillon. Mick Dillon with the ball, runs past the LJ Hooker sign and drives it in, but he can't find anybody, and the Moorabbin player can't pick it up either. McGreal gets pushed in the back, and number 38 for Berwick, and young McGreal picks the ball up, drives it out across to the centre half forward position. Here's Peter Allen and Ian Owen. Not much talking there. They both flew, but the Moorabbin player tapped it down. In comes Tommy Crevens for Berwick and picks it up. He handballs back across to Kevin Venville, and running past is Graham Scott. Help him, Scotty, now. There's a handball to Graham Scott, who's on his own, and he'll have a bounce. There on the right foot, and in it comes and drives it right into the goal square, and nobody doesn't go through. It goes through for a point and not a goal at time. So Berwick go on to 3-3, 20 points, trailing Moorabbin 5-3, 33.
We'll see whether the Moorabbin fullback tries a short kick this time.
I bet he doesn't.
No, kicks out to the other side of the gun. Yeah, hooked the ball right across, and Tommy Crevens coming across has taken the mark. Now Tom could
hooks that ball. He goes to kick it out, John, isn't he? Fullback for Moorabbin. He sort of hooks it, doesn't he, across there?
He looks to be running in the direction and tries to sort of kick it in the opposite direction. Anyway, there's a scramble of play on the half forward flank there on the Berwick end of the ground, and the umpire's going to bounce it. Rod Ward in the ruck for Berwick. Can't get the knockout. It's cleared, but here's Gary Scott out here for looking for someone to kick it to. takes his time, kicks wide on that half-forward flank, but there's no one there. Only the Moorabbin player, who was Graham Stewart. He gets it loose on there. John Cowie in front. Beats his opponent for the ball this time. Kicks it across to the centre looking for Tommy Crebin. Crebin can't get the ball. There's 3 Moorabbin players there. In comes Kevin Venville. He can't pick it up. Neville Powers gets a handball out. Look, Matty Johnson picks it up. Finds Gary Scott. He takes his kick. Looking there for John McGreal, but he can't get to the ball. Now he can. The bounce favours him. Picks it up. Handballs across. Looking for Mickey Dillon. Mickey Dillon's got a chance here. Running into the forward pocket. Kicks it low. But it's touched. Touched and goes through for 1 point.
Yeah, it should have been a major there, John, as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, McGreal ran in that time. Mickey Dillon with the ball and couldn't quite score a goal. Now it's back in the centre. John Cavalry's just taken a good mark. Robert Trigg on his own. Nice pass, Johnny Cavalry always. Drove it into Robbie Trigg. Robbie Trigg a good kick. He's going to have a shot. Up in the goal square is Rod Ward. Ian Owen. Want one of these Berwick players to stay down. Ian Owen leads out, but Triggy's going to have the shot. In comes Robbie Trigg, number 18 for Berwick. Offline, but it's right there, right up the distance, and it's punched through for 1 behind for the Wickers again, and they go on to 3 goals, 5-23, trailing Moorabbin 5-3-33. 10 points of difference, and we must be well into this first quarter. Full-back hooks it around this time again. In comes Robbie Trigg. He can't take the mark. He's just there, and the Moorabbin player Neil Coates. Neil Coates with the ball, hooks it around across to his teammate there who gets it back, but the ball's going to beat them. No, it's not. It's still in play with number 29, Steve Pappen, who's kicked the goal for Moorabbin so far. Steve Pappen puts it up in the air. Matt Johnson on his own, but Peter Allen takes off the back. Handballs across to Gary Scott. Let him see Peter Allen letting him know where he is. He's under pressure. Handballs it back to Peter Allen again, who goes across to Matt Johnson. He's run into a bit of trouble, and handballs, and the ball didn't go over the line in my opinion, but anyway, Kevin Venville was there. The umpire estimated it was going to go over the line, but we'll see it on replay, no doubt. The umpire with the ball. Throws it in. Rod Ward in the ruck for Berwick. He can't get the tap down, and Moorabbin player does, but Tommy Crebins picks it up and hooks it across there towards the forward flank position. McGreal can't quite grab the ball. Goes out of his hands, and there's a back forward, and the ball is tapped over the line and out of bounds on the Berwick half forward flank position on the western side of the ground. In it comes, sunshine in their eyes. Ward and Powell. Ward gets a tap down to Mick Dillon, who rows the pack beautifully. On his left foot, kicks it out, and in comes Daryl Smith trying to pick it up. He can't quite do it. It's off his boot, and he puts the ball back in the centre ground. Across to Gary Scott again. The monkey with a bad hand pass, and number 7, Graham Stewart, ran in between. He gets it across there, but Matt Johnson, the ever-saver, is always there. Matty Johnson takes a good safe mark at centre half back position. Play on. Out there is Tommy Crebin on his own. He takes a good strong mark again. Gary Scott in the centre. Berwick on their own this time. Gary Scott drives it down there looking for Mick Dillon. Mick Dillon, the smaller player, the Moorabbin player, punches it away. Ward picks it up, kicks it into a man there, and the ball comes down, and there's a Moorabbin clearing. Moorabbin clearing pretty well through number 42 is Glenn Vaughan. Glenn Vaughan goes across there where Johnny Cowley takes a mark on his own. Moorabbin making it scrambling now, not looking for anybody. Cowley out here to Ray Crook. Ray Crook takes a mark. Moorabbin not picking their players up. Here's Robbie Trigg on his own, and Kevin Venville's there. Tell him, let him know where you are, Kevin. Wasn't a mark, but anyway, the umpire blew his whistle. In it comes there, and there's Mickey Dillon, is it? Mick Dillon, number 40 with the ball. On the half-forward flank position for the Wickers. Mick Dillon with the ball. About to have a shot for Berwick. Mickey Dillon comes in on his right foot, drops it on, and it's offline. Straight across the face of goal and goes through for 1 point. Berwick 3-6-24, trailing Moorabbin 5-3-33.
Well, Bruce, they seem to have got back into the game a little bit here, but they're not kicking straight. That's the last 3 shots at goal have all been points and could possibly have got a couple of goals. And there goes the siren for quarter time. Gives the quarter time scores being Berwick 3 goals 6, 3 goals 6 to 5 goals 3 Moorabbin. What's your thoughts on that quarter, Bruce?
Well, both sides started off slowly, John, but Moorabbin seemed to be able to get out on their own and lead, and they're kicking the ball long, and they seem to make the most of their possessions early on in the quarter. In the last 5 minutes, I think Berwick has settled down, and they're starting to look and realise that they can get out on their own. make the moves, and they're looking for one another. They're starting to play as a team again, and I think that Berwick might go on with this job. Admittedly, they were unfortunate in not kicking straight on 2 or 3 occasions in the last 5 or 6 minutes of the quarter, but that's football, and I think Berwick, if they can keep on this running game and get out on their own, they'll go on and put Moorabbin under a lot of pressure. Now with me up here on the broadcasting point at the quarter time interval between Berwick and Moorabbin, I have Ron Dobson. Ron, a very great supporter, long time supporter of the Berwick Football Club. Ron, welcome up here, and just give us a few thoughts on the game as you've seen it so far.
Well, whether they're winning the ball well enough, but they're overdoing it with their handball, where they should be having long kicks down the forward line. They're winning the ball real well, but I think if they give that handball away a little bit, they'll be much better off.
Yeah, fair enough. I think so too. They're a little bit unlucky in the last few minutes of that quarter, Dobby, that they kicked points, whereas if there'd have been goals, things looked a lot better. Who's playing well for Berwick up to date?
Well, I think Wardy's doing well on the ruck. Peter's doing reasonably well in the centre. Overall, they're controlling the ball, but I still say they're overdoing it with the handball.
Yeah, right. I think Matt Johnson's been a great saver on 2 or 3 occasions on the back line too, Dobby. Tell me this: how's things going inside the rooms there? The social activity with the coterie members, which you are one, I believe. Dobby, how's things going inside there?
Oh, very nicely, very nicely.
Yeah, Dickie Bell and Maureen Bell provided the lunch in there today for the coterie supporters, and we'd like to thank them for that. I didn't have a great deal of time to hop into my leg of chicken, but it was a great meal, wasn't it?
Beautiful, very well presented, very well done.
Dobby, league football. You follow Richmond. You'd be pleased with their win yesterday?
My word, I was very pleased, very pleased.
Did you go?
No, I didn't. No.
Oh, what bad luck. I went and my side, as you know, is the Bombers, and I went and saw them on Anzac Day at. Well, I just thought I'd bring that back to give you a little bit of memory about that one. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. Anyway, Ronnie, thanks very much for coming up here at quarter time and giving us your thoughts on the game so far, and we'll catch you later on after the game.
Thank you.
Listen, back here on the rooftop broadcasting point again, just waiting for the spectators to get off the ground. Not a big crowd here today, but a fair bit of interest among the crowd that's here, which is probably a contradicting sort of a statement, but the crowd that are here are all keen, and I suppose they wouldn't be here if they weren't keen, John, but we expected a bigger crowd. Moorabbin not all that far away from Berwick. The umpire blowing the whistle to make sure that the spectators that aren't officials are off the ground. That's Mike Taylong out there, just about ready now to pick up the ball, and he'll bounce it in the centre to start the second quarter. There's a little bit of a breeze up on the roof here, but not a breeze out in the ground. No effect, I don't think, on this game at this stage. There's always a breeze up here on the roof, John, isn't there?
That's right.
Right, up it goes. Wardy gets a tap down, and they pick it up in Graham Stewart. Graham Stewart handballs across to the Mercoulia, or whatever his name is. He gets it across there to the Moorabbin half-forward flank, where the player there in Moorabbin gets it back out across to one of the Cathcarts in number 22. He gets it across to number 32 in Ross White, and they've had a snap at it. And the umpire signals a goal. Ross White it was, number 32, kicked that goal, and Moorabbin in the first minute of play into the second quarter go on to 6 goals 3, 39 points, leading Berwick 3-6-24. If Berwick are going to do anything, John, they want to start and do it in this quarter.
Yeah, they seem to have jumped him again. They seem to be, the Moorabbin team take off really quickly as soon as the ball's bounced and have their runners really going, whereas Berwick seem to be a little bit slow starters. Anyway, here's the umpire with the ball in the centre, about to bounce the ball. Ward again in the ruck for Berwick. Takes it out, but no, couldn't quite hold on to it. Fights his way through. It comes loose. Matt Johnson on the half-back line tries to force his way through, but he's caught. And the umpire claims that he was tackled over the top of the shoulder. No, he's given it the other way. He's given holding the ball. He did indicate the other direction. Anyway, the ball comes on that half-forward flank, and Moorabbin are clear. Another shot for goal. And it's a second goal in about 5 minutes. Steve Plattman, his second shot in about 2 or 3 minutes, and that's 2 goals already on the board from Moorabbin in this quarter. Takes the score onto Moorabbin, 6 goals 3 to Berwick, 3 goals 6. Umpire relays the ball back to the centre. So the Moorabbin crowd starting to get a little bit vocal. Taken out of the centre by the Moorabbin player number 20. He can't get it across to Graham Stewart, and he finds all on his own down there right in front of goal. George Lett's the full forward for Moorabbin.
John, just say one thing. Mick Shears is getting beaten at full forward. I think Mick Shears, full back rather, played well, didn't he, last week on the big ground at Waverley on the half-back flank. You know, if I was a selector at this stage, I'd start to think about Mick Shears. Probably, anyway, the Moorabbin full forwards missed that one. He should have kicked it. Number 18 for Moorabbin is George Lett, and he's already kicked one goal. And it's a bad miss for Moorabbin. Takes them on to 7-4, leading Berwick 3-6-24.
Ward underneath this ball on the halfback flank takes quite a nice mark from the kick-off from Mick Shears. Looking down here for Robbie Trigg. Trigg's going to get the free kick, although Daryl Smith took the mark. Yes, he's going to take it off him, give it back to Robbie Trigg for the free kick. He's got a lead here, but it's a short pass, tried a short pass, and it was undertaken again. Moorabbin get away with the ball. Steve Patrick, he gets it across to Atherton, Gary Atherton. He's going to get back through the clear of the pack. Looks for his half-forward flanker, and he takes it centre half-forward. It is for Moorabbin. It's Ross White. Loose player there on his own.
No, looks like him.
Looks like Neil Coates, is it? No, it's not. It's number 16. It's Ross Pollock. Ross Pollock in that pocket takes a kick for goal, but it's offline, and it's going to go through for 1 point. Shears to take the kick off.
Richard Brown.
No, Richard Brown's gone. Yeah, it looks like they might have changed Richard Brown to full back. Bruce. As it comes out, he's out looking for Matty Johnson. He takes a big mark and right in the centre of the field, and here's Gary Scott, takes the handball off him, looks for Robbie Trigg. Trigg is in front, takes the mark, and he's pushed into the ground. He's going to get 15 yards. He's going to take him right back there. The umpire called play on. Now, Trigg's got to learn that once he turns around off the ball like that, he's got to play on. He should have just run up to his mark and taken a kick from there. Could probably have nearly kicked a goal. And Moorabbin get the ball away, and it comes down to George Letts again, the full forward for Moorabbin. He's got to kick this long way out on that boundary. It's quite a good kick. It's got the direction, but it hasn't quite got the distance. And it's gone through for 1 point.
Yeah, not many mistakes. Robbie Trigg doesn't make many mistakes, but he made one then, and Moorabbin have got a goal out of it. Richard Brown kicks it in long, looking for Neville Powell's on the outside, but he can't on the other side of the ground. He can't take the mark. Very clear away there through a handball through their player in Craig Morris. Now they line up at goals, and they've kicked it through for another one. It's another goal, kicked that time by the young player from Moorabbin, the small fella there. Just can't quite pick up who it was, but Moorabbin go on to 8 goals, 6, leading Berwick 3-6-24. Moorabbin scored an easy goal again there, but that's the way they seem to be doing it. Excuse me, that's just the way they seem to be doing it at the centre. Rod Blake bounces the ball up in the centre. And Moorabbin once again get the tap down. Now it comes to their rover in Cathcart. He can't pick it up, but Gary Scott clears across the front of him. And looking for Tommy Crevin, but it comes down beats both those players. The two number 3s, the Moorabbin player there and Tommy Crevins, and the ball hits the ground and goes over the line and out of bounds. Boundary umpire showing a lot of age, throws it in. And the Moorabbin player, number 11 there, Sid Pappas, takes the mark and drops it across there, looking for Gary Scott, run across in front of him and took a great mark there. Handballs across to Mick Dillon. Mick Dillon with the ball now, looking for the goal and drives it in. He lines them up, and it's a beautiful goal. Good goal to Mick Dillon. The umpire signals it. Berwick 4 goals, 6, 30 points. Trailing Moorabbin 8-6. Good goal that time by the Berwick players. Through Mickey Dillon, and Gary Scott coming across, showing a lot of determination. Got in front of the Moorabbin player, took the mark, handball to Mick Dillon, and Mick Dillon snapped it through for a goal.
Yeah, Berwick look like they're going to make a change here. They're starting to warm up Brett Luxford, who's been sitting on the bench. Don't know who's coming off yet. Cliff Donegan's running down, the Berwick runner running down to tell the interchange player that number 13's coming on. We're not quite sure yet who's coming off.
Come on, Berwick, take it away from this.
Running out there in the direction of Neville Powers. He might be bringing Neville Powers off. Anyway, Robbie Trigg's got the ball out there on the half-forward flank. Here's a chance. Two Berwick players fly for the ball. Neither of them spoke to each other and spoiled a great opportunity.
In the front.
Yes, he's in front of Mick Shears again, this fellow, and he's got the mark.
In the back line.
But there's Gary Scott on the half-back flank. He's off. He's called play on. So you see, make this turn and then try to go back and take that kick, and it's the umpire's called play on, but it's come across. Robbie Trigg takes the mark. It's a poor handball.
Shocking handball
to Venville, but he fights his way back. Venville's still fighting in there for it. He can't get the ball. The ball's kicked off the ground.
Here they go.
It's loose to the Moorabbin player there, but unfortunately for Moorabbin, it's only gone through for a point.
Oh, bad handball that time by the Berwick players, and nearly resulted in a goal from Moorabbin. Fortunately, number 32 for them, Ross Wright, was offline and only kicked it behind. In they come, Richard Brown with a big kick. Matt Johnson takes another great mark. Man in front, he said. Matt Johnson marked it all the way, but the young Cathcart was in front and the umpire said in front. Unbelievable. Anyway, Cathcart with the ball, kicks it down. Says that Matt Johnson ran over the mark, put his hands out over the mark, and has taken him back in 15 metre. Number 22, David Cathcart with the ball. Not getting any warmer up here on the roof, John. Cathcart drives it in. It's a short kick. It's falling short, and a Berwick player unattended there. Ray Cook, not quite on his man, and the Moorabbin player has taken a mark. And Georgie Lett, the full forward. George Lett comes in. That's another goal to Moorabbin, and they go on to 9 goals, 7-61, the Berwick 4-6-30.
27. Hillside 12, Waverley 36, Sunshine 18, Box Hill 23, Caulfield 33, Oakley 21.
They've brought Mick Shears out onto the half-forward flank, and they've put...
Peter Allen's gone out the half-forward flank.
Half-forward flank, has he? And onto the half-back flank is Mick Shears. He's coming out from full forward. Up they go. Brett Luxford's on the ground in the forward pocket. Moorabbin get the tap down again. Matt Johnson trying to run the ball. Can't quite pick it up. Had it in his hands. Now he gets pushed nearly in the back, but the umpire doesn't pay that. Gowie picks it up. Handballs to McGreal, who gets the kick. Drives it in. Bounce piece, Trigg and Smith. And there's a Moorabbin player in... knocks it across pretty high on the ground, and Matt Johnson runs in with a hip and shoulder and knocks the number 3-4 Moorabbin to the ground, and Gary Atherton with the ball kicks it well up. The Berwick supporters very disappointed in that decision. It was a hip and shoulder bump by Matt Johnson, and Moorabbin got the free kick, but now there's been a free kick awarded to Gary Scott. Gary Scott with the ball, kicks it long, right into the wing position. Up they fly. Nobody can take the mark, goes over the back of the pack. And here's number 15 for them, clears with a handball and Steve Patrick. To number 16 in Ross Pollock. He gets it across the centre of the ground where Ross White can't take it. Here comes Matt Johnson, picks it up. Good play by Matt Johnson there that time. Gets the handball across, so Mick Shears nearly spoils Mickey Dillon, but Mickey Dillon picks it up, man. Handballs to Peter Allen, who's on his own. Lines them up and has a go. And there it is, it's a goal. Peter Allen, first goal for Peter Allen for the day. Shifting himself on the half-forward flank, took the handball and has kicked the goal, and it takes Berwick on to 36 points, trailing Moorabbin 61.
Yes, he seems to have taken himself off the out of the centre and onto a half-forward flank, and Robbie Trigg, it looks like, has gone into the centre for Berwick. Although Trigg's not in the centre of the ground now, perhaps Yes, it looks like McGreal's gone into the centre, yeah. Ward gets the knockout. McGreal gets over the ball. He can't get it. To scramble of players, he tries to get through, but he can't break clear. He goes back in again, and the ball's going to be balled up. Some nice comments down the front here from a few of the supporters, probably here in the background. Anyway, the ball's bounced again, and Robbie Ward gets the. McGreal gets held. He can't get clear now. He gets clear. Looking out in that half forward flank for. Brett Luxford it was, he couldn't take the ball. Mick Dillon overruns it, and the Moorabbin player picks it up. This is caught. He drops the ball, but the umpire's going to say, no, I'll have it and we'll just bounce it here. On that far wing there in front of the McCausland News Agency sign, and it's Tommy Creven. No, he loses. The ball's taken off him by the Moorabbin player, but he's caught, and it's Peter Allen's kick. Right in front of the Ron Mannon's Cleaning Services sign. He kicks to the centre, looking for Robbie Trigg. Brown comes out, it's over the top, but it's spoiled by the Berwick player, and the Moorabbin come loose. Finally, but in the centre, he's caught, but it's probably too high. No, he called play on. Tommy Crebman got the ball out, handball to Peter Allen, onto Ian Owen. Long kick from Ian Owen, but there's no one home for Berwick, and the ball bounces loose into that forward pocket. It can't quite be controlled by the Steve Patrick of Moorabbin, and it goes out of bounds on front of the Wickerland sign. Boundary umpire to throw in. Brucey Luxford in the ruck. He can't get the kick. Venville goes across the front. It's kicked off the ground, but here's Ward. Ward had a chance, but he's too slow. He got himself in all sorts of trouble there. He just couldn't find it. He breaks clear with strength alone, perseverance, and gets away with it. And he's kicked a beautiful goal.
It's a goal, a great goal.
Absolute fantastic goal. He's kicked that goal from, well, it's got to be 75, 80 metres out there, and it was a fantastic effort because he got into all sorts of strife. He couldn't get clear, and he used brute force to break clear. In the end, he didn't have time to steady. He just kicked, and it went right down the ground and through the goals for a magnificent goal.
Yeah, good kick by Rod Ward, no doubt about that. As a blocking play, and then it was a good kick for a goal, and fortunately the Berwick ground being a little bit short at one end, they get a good goal. I'm not being critical. But anyway, the ball's been bounced up the centre. This might be just what Berwick need to spurt them on a bit. Rod Ward with a handball to Gary Scott. Gary Scott picks it up. He's looking out there for Ian Owen, who flies high underneath the ball. Needs a bit of match practice, Ian Owen, I'd say, a bit underneath it. And the ball's gone over the line and out of bounds right at the Berwick Brains Trust, and just in front of Robbie Trigg. Umpire with a muddy ball. Throws it in. Brett Luxford in the ruck. Taps it across there to McGreal, who takes it pretty well. Has a snap. Out it comes. Ian, the ball on the ground. Ian Owen with it. Turns. Looks as though he's going to handball it. Turns. But I'll tell you what, he's kicked a goal. And Berwick starting to lift the job. He dummied beautifully there with a handball. Turned onto the right foot and has hammered it through for a goal. And Berwick move on to 48 points. Trailing Moorabbin 61. You're keeping a record of the stats, aren't you, John? Between us, we'll have them pretty right. That's Ian Owen's first goal in my book anyway, isn't it? Yep. It's been Mick Dillon kicked 2 goals, Robbie Trigg 1, Peter Allen 1, Ian Owen 1, Daryl Smith 1, and Rod Ward 1 up to date. Back in the centre of the ground, umpire Rod Blake with the ball, bounces it high in the air, up they go again. Rod Ward gets the tap down out to the open spaces, and in comes Venville. A great little player for Berwick. Onto the left foot, kicks it down there, and it's bounced over the line right in front of that Berwick trainer's box again. Out of the centre, they're getting it out of there, and Venville, one of my favourite players, kicked it down along the line there, and they come with the umpire with the ball again. He throws it in. High in the air it goes. Ruxford in the ruck. And there's Luxie's kick. He gets the kick. It's against that Steve Patrick, and he kicks it across there to Tommy Creven, who's made position beautifully at the centre half forward position and takes a strong mark. Another great player for the Berwick club in Tommy Creven, number 3 for the Wickers. Umpire lines them up. Getting a lot of abuse from a particular chap down here in front of the race, but anyway, Creven with the ball, kicks it long, and unfortunately it's offline. We could have done with a goal there, John. Tommy Creven gets a point, and it's 7-7 now, trailing Moorabbin 9-7-61.
Yes, that would have been a handy one at this stage, Bruce. Anyway, Moorabbin full back with the ball. Doesn't know where to kick it to. There's kicks to down this side, but it's yes, a Moorabbin mark, good mark from Atherton, Gary Atherton. He plays no, the umpire's going to give him a 15-yard penalty. He's running him on. Kicks it down below, but just Cheers takes the mark. Yes, looking for someone to play to. It's a poor handball, puts Johnson under pressure, but it's a great play by Johnson. Back to Shears. Across there to Scott. There's a poor kick from Scott, but it comes loose for Venville. Venville's got time to have a look. Kicks for goal. Yes, it is. It's a goal. No, it's a goal. It's a goal to Venville. That was good play by Johnson after Shears put him under pressure, managed to push the ball back to Johnson, back to Shears, and Shears got it across and they broke loose on that side, and it was a good goal from Venville. Now that's taken Berwick onto 8 goals 7, 49, to Moorabbin 9 goals 7, 61. I think that score's not quite right, Bruce. Anyway, meantime the ball is back in the midfield, and it's a chance here for Allen. Allen can't get the ball. Moorabbin player breaks clear of the pack and looks for it's Graham Stewart on his own in the centre. And the umpire's found another 15-yard. All the way up in the air, and it's going to be another free kick to Moorabbin. This time to Ross White.
There's a bloke down here, very vocally. He's one of our local car dealers in John Ryder, and committeeman. He's gone berserk over that decision, making a lot of comments as Ryder. I see you've got a sign over there on the fence.
Anyway, it's right down into the teeth of goal, and there's a big mark taken there. I think it's a Berwick mark to Matt Johnson. Yes, it's been to Matt. Very strong mark. He's given him 15 metres this time, and he comes out to take his kick. No one there. Oh yes, there's Richard Brown out on the flank. Finds him. Richard Brown gets the loose man going, and it's Peter Allen he's looking for, and he's in front, takes a nice mark on his chest. Right in front of the Loveridge Brothers hardware store sign. The umpire's bringing him back and giving this fella 15 yards. They're going 15-yard mad, these umpires at the moment, Bruce. Anyway, it's a long kick right into the centre, looking for Ian Owen. He can't take the mark. It's taken by Coates of
in the back against Berwick.
Moorabbin, and it's against Mickey Dillon, the free kick, and will be taken by Coates. Out there in front of the Jack Sprittenberg panel beating services sign. That's a good kick right down the centre. He finds his teammate down there on the half centre. He handballs across to his little rover. He can't pick the ball up. But Moorabbin get clear, but Matt Johnson's down there in the safe hands of Matty Johnson. Gets it out of trouble. Finds Mickey Shears. Mickey Shears looking out for Mickey Dillon. Dillon goes hard, but the ball beats him across the line, right in front of the Berwick Shears squad sign. But the umpire's going to give him a free kick. He's going to bring him back. He's grabbed him by the legs, and the umpire's going to bring him right back. So this gives Dillon a chance now. He's got Gary Scott on his own there, but it's a poor kick. Fair enough now. It came up. He was looking for Scott, but fortunately it fell into the arms of Ian Owen.
Yeah, righto, fair enough, John, but Ian Owen with the ball now. Good little pass from Mickey Dillon. Ian Owen kicks it high in the air, and through it goes. There's not much worry about that. Nobody moves, and it's a goal. The wickets go on now. And the scores are level. Berwick on the way back. 9-7 apiece. 61 points, and scores are level here at the Arch Brown Reserve, halfway in, or a little bit further than halfway into the second quarter. That's Ian Owen's second goal. Umpires making a few funny decisions. They're not consistent, but anyway, that time it was in Berwick's favour, and we've got a goal out of it. Great knockdown by Luxford, but nobody there from Berwick to take it, and the clears there in the Moorabbin player in Ross Pollock. Ross Pollock gets it across to the half forward flank from Moorabbin, where nobody can do much with it. The pack formed, and the umpire said they'll ball it up. Mike Tolong balls it up. Up they go. Luxford in the ruck. Down they go. Nobody can pick it up. He's caught with the ball. He can't get rid of it. And Matt Johnson will take the kick after a great tackle. Matt Johnson playing a real good game. Handballs across to Richard Brown. He drives it down there. Peter Allen just can't quite take the mark, but it comes off the hands of the pack. He's picked it up beautifully now. Looking for a handball. There's Tommy Creven on his own. He gets it across there to Gary Scott, who kicks it high in the air. There they go. And there's a good punch from the Moorabbin player. Hits it down there, and up goes Steve Patrick, but he can't do much with it. Bit big and slow, Patrick, in my book, but Moorabbin are clearing. And Peter Allen ran in and smothered the ball, and over the line it went. Very, very good play that time by Peter Allen, the captain coach of the Wickers. And the ball's going to be brought ball in right in front of that Berwick Datsun sign. Did you hear that, John? The Berwick Datsun sign. It's in front of that. The umpire throws it in. John Ryder not paying a great deal of attention to what I've got to say. Very intent on watching the play. Umpire says I'll have it back and he'll ball it up. Hits the ball up. Rod Ward in the ruck for Berwick now. Up it goes. He gets the tap down. Looking for Dillon. He gets it and picks it up. Mick Dillon slams it through. And there's a good goal. A great goal. A beautiful... And Berwick hit the front. 10 goals, 7-67. The Moorabbin 9-7-61. This is what Berwick need now. They've got to get out on their own. A good goal that time, John, by Mick Dillon, wasn't it? You know, it was on an angle and he drove it straight through there. Nobody moved, went through the centre. And it was a great goal.
Yes, a nice kick at on the run, and it's his third one for the day. Yes, he's kicking very well. He's very quick when he gets clear of the pack, and he's also a very, very talented kick. Anyway, it's back with the umpire in the centre of the ground. He's going to bounce the ball. It's Luxford in the ruck for Berwick. He can't get the knock to the scramble of plays on the bottom of the pack, and the umpire says, well, I'll have it, and he's going to ball it up right in the centre of the ground again. Okay, Luxford gets the knock this time, but it's knocked back by the Moorabbin player. Scott can't get Luxford. A beautiful handball out to Callaway up there. He's looking for Robbie Trigg. Robbie Trigg in front and takes a lovely mark. But he runs into trouble. He played on and ran into trouble. Got himself into strife. And got it out to Tommy Craven. But Tommy Craven's kicked and it's over the head of Venville. He can't take it, and it's a Moorabbin kick on the half-back flank. Scott from... Oh, it's got to be in the back to Scott. Yes, he's got the free kick. Go, Scott. Right on the centre line position for Berwick.
Got to give the Moorabbin player a point complete.
Certainly was.
High, John.
Was he ever? And he caught right in the middle of Gary Scott's back. Anyway, the kick goes up there. They all fly. The pack flies. No one down. It's Trigg. Trigg gets it out, looking for the half-forward flank for Peter Allen. He's out there. He beats his player. Walks back beautifully. Takes his time. Left foot kicks towards goal. Finds Smith, and it's Daryl Smith. And I think he's kicked only a point. Yes, only a point. There's a chance there for another goal there, Bruce. He wasn't very far out.
He was under a bit of pressure and had a snap for it, John, and it only resulted in a point. But with a little bit of luck, it could have been a goal, but he was under the pressure, fair enough, and could only kick a point.
Interesting to see our former commentator, David Austin, down there on the grandstand. We might be able to get him up here to do a little bit of work later on. Anyway, the ball's loose in the centre at the moment. It's on the ground. Peter Allen picks it up. He's got out to Robbie Ward, who was clear. Oh, he's a poor handball back to Mick Shears. He can't pick it up. He fumbles, and the Moorabbin player is able to clear it away. But Ward chasing him up. Ward chasing him up with brute strength there, and just pulled him off the ball. Now Ward's starting to show a little bit of fire there, Bruce, and it's good to see. He's a real good, talented player, and he's got the strength there to put in a few of the hard ones.
Yeah, Rod Ward showing a fair bit of a dash now. He's come back onto the ball. He's firing up for a big man, and that's what they need, Berwick. They've got to have that ruck play to get it down to those Rovers. The Rovers are there, but they've got to get it out, that tap down and make it direct to their Rovers for them to clear it.
Anyway, the ball's thrown in, and the Moorabbin player comes clear with the ball. Looking across there for number 20 in Moorabbin, who was Cathcart, Ryan Cathcart. Picks the ball up the pack. It's a poor handball. It hits the ground. There's a long handball to this Moorabbin fella, number 32. Is it on his own? He can't pick it up. The ball's hit. Cathcart picks it up, 22. Takes a flying shot in for goal, and I think he's kicked a goal. Yes. Picked it up out of a pack of players there, and ran it through to a goal to Moorabbin. That leaves the scores on Berwick. 10 goals, 8-68 to Moorabbin on 10 goals, 7-67.
Just a point separating them now as the second quarter wears on. Ball's back in the centre. Moorabbin getting their goals a bit easier than Berwick, I feel, at this stage. But anyway, the umpire has the ball back in the centre ground, and up it goes. Luxford back in the ruck for Berwick. He gets a good tap down to Venville, who roves well. Kicks it in there. Trigg in front. Oh no, they put a new player in on Trigg. Trigg's done his ankle. He's in real trouble with it again, and they'll have to take Robbie Trigg off the ground. It'll be a blow to the wickers. Tommy Craven's got the ball and gets it across there, and the Berwick player, the Moorabbin player in number 28, Bernie Lazaro, a good kick right back there to the centre half forward from Moorabbin. In they come. Here's Wright on his own, taps it across, but doesn't quite come off. But the Johnny Cowley picks it up and clears for Berwick. Gets in there. Kevin Venville's on his own. He gets it out to Tommy Crebin again. Tommy Crebin kicks it up. Robbie Trigg's back on the ground. He's up there leaving. He can't walk. He's trying hard to run, but couldn't take the mark, and Robbie Trigg still out there on the ground. Now in the centre of the ground, the Moorabbin player has the ball and drops it on his right foot, gets it down there where Matt Johnson takes another great mark. What a saviour for the week as he is at that position, centre half back. Handballs to Cowley. Cowley gets pushed, shocking kick as he was pushed, and could have nearly been up the field. But anyway, Moorabbin clear. Moorabbin clear through number 28 for them, which is Bernie Lazaro. In they come again. That's Luxford with the kicks it out there onto the wing position, looking for Peter Allen, who's pushed in the back. The umpire's right there, and Peter Allen will get the kick. Peter Allen kicks it across there to Gary Scott. Gary Scott couldn't quite hold it, but he picked it, recovered again, and handballs back to Peter Allen, who's right in the middle. He gets it back to Gary Scott. Gary Scott on the right foot kicks it in there, the centre half forward position, and Rod Ward with the ball. Now Ward could kick it from there, but he's found Tommy Crebin on his own, who's dead in front, and Mick Dillon. Mick Dillon has taken the mark. Mick Dillon.
No closer than Wardy was.
No closer than what Rod Ward was, but anyway, he's a bit probably more in line, dead in front. In he comes. Mick Dillon kicks the ball. Beautiful. Nobody moves. It's a great kick, and it's a great goal for Berwick, and they go on to 11-8. 74 points. Moorabbin 10-7, 67. Great goal from Mick Dillon again. That's his fourth goal for Mickey Dillon, after a pass from Rod Ward. Back over to you, John.
Yes, well, Berwick have shown a lot more fight in this part of the quarter. They started off the quarter very poorly, allowing Moorabbin to kick 3 very quick goals, but they've come right back into the goal now and lead by 7 points.
Robbie Trigg still out there, John?
Yes, Robbie Trigg still on the ground. He seemed to have hurt his ankle pretty badly at the stage, but he's got back up and into it. And anyway, the ball's bounced in the centre. It's gotten out by Graham Stewart. Long kick down the forward line. There's 3 Moorabbin players there, but Matty Johnson beats them, gets the ball to Cowie. Cowie looking for McGreal, who's loose on his own there. The ball doesn't bounce well for him, but he's able to get it and gets the handball across to Richard Brown. Richard Brown looking there for Robbie Trigg. Robbie Trigg pushes the ball out of bounds on the forward pocket, right in front of the Rook's Shoes sign over there. A lot of sponsors put up signs around the ground. A few people watching this and listening, we just hope you support them like they support us. Anyway, the ball's come loose and Moorabbin break clear on the half-back line, looking for centre half forward. There's a trip, but the umpire doesn't pay it. The ball comes loose onto the ground, and the Moorabbin player is caught. And he's going to play the free kick to Ray Crook. Ray Crook looking for Gary Scott on the half-back flank. Scott gets the ball. He's got Matt Johnson running past. Gives it to Johnson. Johnson has plenty of time to look for a player. He's got Robbie Trigg in there. No, it's Daryl Smith, but he can't quite take the mark. Recovers well. Brooks goes back around. Has time for a kick. Right across the band, there's three Berwick players fly. In Peter Allen, no one stayed down. Picked up by the Moorabbin player. There's no one out there. It's a race for the ball, but it's going to beat them all out of bounds into the Berwick box. Scores are 11 goals, 874. Berwick 10 goals, 767 Moorabbin. They must be well into very close to the half-time siren. The ball's up from the throw in, but there's no Berwick player there. It's Moorabbin is caught, but now he's allowed to get away with the ball, and he gets it across to number 16, which is Ross Pollock. Ross Pollock down, but Matthew Johnson, another great mark. Centre half back, he's played real well. Crosses across the other side of the ground, looking for Richard Brown. He can't pick it up, but the Gary Scott's there backing him up. He gets a handball across to Dillon. Dillon a handball looking for Smith. Smith can't pick the ball up, but Peter Allen comes in, helps him out, gets one around the neck, but the call play on, and it comes loose. Sid Pappas gets the kick. Pappas gets it out to his player Ross Pollock on his own. He's got someone down there at full forward, but it's punched away well by the Berwick full-back in Cook. Ray Cook tried to kick it off the ground, but couldn't quite get it. He backs up, gets the ball clear. Comes out to Scott. Scott cuts the ball. He's caught, and the free kick will go to Moorabbin. It's Moorabbin with the ball. He plays on, but it's all on his own. Tommy Crebin out here. He's got no one to give it to, just the man. He's got Kevin Venville, but he doesn't. He goes long down the centre looking for Brett Luxford it was, but he can't hold the ball. It's punched away. It's taken there by McGreal for Moorabbin. Comes down, but Richard Brown gets the ball. He handballs out looking for Mick Shears. He can't pick it up. The ball hits the ground. Shears gets a knock on, and it gives Scott. Yes, it's Scott again. Kicks across looking for Robbie Trigg. Trigg, he handballs on to Kevin Venville. He takes a bounce, takes a kick. Looking there, and he's hit down the ground. It's too far and he's pushed over after the game. The umpire's not going to pay anything else. He's just got to give Owen his kick. If he can kick as well as he kicked the last one from here, Bruce, we'll have another goal on the board.
Yes, John, 2 15-metre infringements that time, but Ian Owen took the mark, and I'll tell you what, it's this side of the post from where we're sitting. We'll see, and the umpire signals 1 point. Berwick 11-9 now, 75 leading, Moorabbin 10-7, 67. Now here they go, Moorabbin. Just a little small pass down there, which is ridiculous. Owen puts him under pressure, and there goes the siren, and it's half time. Now at Berwick at this stage are in front. The microphone cord's caught in the chair, John. Now the Berwick players come off the ground. That quarter, I see a marked improvement by Berwick at that stage, backing up well, looking for one another, handballing, kicking a little bit straighter. The goals that Moorabbin got were only caused by the odd mistake on the forward line for Berwick after the first 10 minutes, and I think that the Berwick side should be feeling a little bit more confident about going on and wrapping Moorabbin up. The scores half time 11-9 75 Berwick to Moorabbin 10-7 67. And we'll have Kevin Francis Kelly. He's going to speak to us at half time, and I think we'll have to go downstairs to speak to Kevin. We won't expect him to climb up onto the roof. Let's stay there, Kev. Kevin, just there. Ross, Steve, how are you? Now with me down here at the half-time break in front of the Berwick Social Club, I have a very, very strong and loyal supporter of the Berwick Football Club and a well-respected citizen in Berwick in Kevin Kelly. As Barry Johnson calls him, Kevin Francis Kelly. Welcome, Kevin, to our interview at half-time. Just give us a few comments on the game so far.
Well, Red, I haven't seen it all. We were 5 goals behind when I got here, and since then we've had most of the play and really turned on a pretty good quarter that quarter. I'd say we'd come right back, scouting better for the ball, going in, leading the ball all the way, and really played a good quarter.
Yes, I saw you actually come in through the gate, Kevin. You weren't in here for the luncheon today, but no doubt, as I said earlier, you probably missed a very nice luncheon, but it's nice to see you here. Berwick showed a marked improvement in that quarter, looking for one another and playing better as a team. Yesterday, your side, Collingwood, Kevin's a very, very great supporter of the Collingwood Football Club through the Woodsman. Anybody that'd like to buy a raffle ticket can do so off him later on for a Mercedes-Benz. But you had the football yesterday, Kevin?
Yes, I went down yesterday. I generally go, good game, quite a good game of footy. Return of some of the classier players at Collingwood's made a big difference to them.
Very good, that's right. I think that John Carl would be very pleased with the way that Collingwood, although they let North Melbourne into it perhaps in the third quarter a little bit, they did go on and win the game, and no doubt that John Carl would be very pleased with that. Now with us here as well, we've got mine host and popular publican of the Berwick Inn, Barry Johnson. Barry, how have you seen the game up to date?
Well, I've been in the room inside, and I haven't had a chance to see every kick because Barry Mage and I've been doing you know what. But I've seen a little bit of it, and I thought in the first quarter that we were lethargic. I thought we were behind our man. I don't think we wanted the ball as much as we did in the second quarter, and I think that's why we got the improvement.
They've showed a fair bit more determination, Barry, no doubt about that. I haven't heard your voice today like I normally do at the footy, so you must have been working in there. We have a very well-run social club in there of a home game, and it does need somebody to do a bit of that work, and Barry Mage and Barry Johnson do that. Biggs, Matty Johnson, the knee seems to be pretty well.
Yes, well, you know, his wife told me, she warned me, my daughter-in-law warned me on Thursday. She said he wants to play, and the coaches and the selectors and the trainers didn't want him to play, but a very rigorous test yesterday, and they tested him right out to the point of 6 o'clock last night, really, when he cooled down. And 6 o'clock last night he couldn't find the coach to tell him, so this morning he thought, I saw him at Holy Mass this morning, and he thought he was going to be in the seconds.
Well done. Yeah, fair enough.
He played well.
He has played very well, Kevin, no doubt about that. We missed him last week, centre-half-back position against Waverley. Kevin, is there anything else you'd like to say before we close off this interview?
No, I'd just like to wish the Berwick Club great success this year. they're a much improved team to their first year in the association. They're playing better together, I think. Perhaps they got to know one another a bit better. And I really think that the class of umpiring, the matches I've seen this year, has been much better than the umpiring last year.
Yeah,
the grounds are drier, and it's let better footballers play better football. And I think we're going to have a good season. We may not be tremendously up there in the finals, but we'll be up there pretty close this year. It augurs pretty well for a good year for Berwick. I'm confident.
Thanks very much. Don, you know.
I know that. Yeah, I know.
Listening, man.
Yeah, I know that. We won't hold that against
Well,
you.
we're speaking about Essendon. We turned a big roar of the Lions into a small meow yesterday. That's the way I put it to a fellow I was standing next to after he'd given me a hard time for 3/4. I just brought him out back to size and he said, well, I'm going home. He said, I can't exactly say over this television what he did say. Anyway, thank you very much, both of you, for coming down here and speaking to us at half time. And those words, Kevin, I'm sure will be much appreciated by the people that watch the video and especially the players. They love to see support and words that are spoken and true and with a lot of meaning behind them, and that's what you've done. Right now it's both sides are back under the Archbourne Reserve after the half-time break, and Peter Owen spoke to his players in no uncertain terms about trying to get in front, play with determination as the way they did in the second half of the second quarter, the Berwick club. The Berwick players wanting the ball, showing a lot more determination, and perhaps kick the ball long as well as try and keep the game open. I spoke to Kevin Francis Kelly and Barry Johnson at half time, and very, very true words were spoken by both gentlemen, and I'd like to thank them for coming and speaking to us at half time, and we'll have another interview at 3/4 time. Not too sure who with, John. You've got it organised, okay, and no worries. Now, sides are pretty well set up. We've got Neville Powell's
Back on the ground.
Playing at centre half forward. Robbie Trigg, forward pocket, I'd say.
Brett Luxford, I think, is going under the bench.
Brett Luxford probably on the bench. Mick Shears is back in his centre half the half-back flank position. Ray Richard Brown's out here now.
Yeah, Ray Cook full-back.
Half-back flank, and Ray Crook has gone to full-back position. John Cowley still in that back pocket. Rod Ward in the ruck. In the centre. Where's Peter Allen playing? Oh, he's playing on the half-forward flank. For Berwick, Tommy Crebens is on the ball. John McGreal's in the centre. And Mickey Dillon. Up it goes for the first bounce, signifying the start of the third quarter. Berwick get a bit of a clear through. Tommy Crebens has punched to the ground that time. The Moorabbin player picks it up and gets across there. There's Mick Shears on his own. He passes it back to Mick Dillon, who's on his own and nearly caught and is pulled to the ground. And the umpire did not call play on. Moorabbin player signifying it, and there's a bit of a scruffle there. Mick Dillon's got to come back there and line over his mark. And Robbie Trigg running around. Mick Dillon kicks it long. It's high in the air. Up they go. Take to the mark. Luxton should have only had the only player to have his hands to the ball there. McGreal showed a bit of determination and tripped the Moorabbin player, but he handballed across there, and there's Ross White takes the mark on his own, right in front of Matt Johnson. Ross White, probably the first time he's really been out on his own since Matt's been playing there, and Ross White with the Moorabbin, for the Moorabbin club with the ball. Ross White comes in on the right foot, drives it in, and the Georgie Lett. Is that Lett, John, over there? Can you see?
18.
Half forward flank, the Moorabbin player with the ball just inside of the family footwear sign. The Berwick family footwear, a supporter of the club. Ray Crook on the mark. In comes the Moorabbin player. On the right boot, up it goes, high in the air, down it comes. And he's offline, and it's through for one behind. Now we've got a really good lot of chaps standing in front of the scoreboard, which gives us a pretty great help to read the score. This is going to test our stats, bad John. Anyway, I'll hand over to you. Ray Cook with the ball, kicks in for the Wickers.
Yes, it's going to be a hard job now, but there's Matty Johnson again. He's got the ball half-back, kicks wide, it bounces just inside, and we'll go out for a throw-in. This is going to be a bit difficult out there to pick up the score, Bruce, with those people standing in front of the scoreboard. Now anyway. The ball comes loose down here, and it's Scott. Scott gets across to McGreal. McGreal's in the centre. He's got Shears there talking to him, and he finds a nice kick out to Venville. Venville across to Dillon. Dillon takes a run. Takes his time looking out there for Ian Owen, and it's a good mark, Ian Owen. A great mark. That's good play from the Berwick players. That came from McGreal. He got the ball loose there. Mick Shears ran with him, told him what to do. Crossed to Venville, and Venville got it out there so that the kick could be taken by Ian Owen. And that's right through the middle. Third goal, Bruce, for Ian Owen. That takes the score on to, here we go, Berwick. And all those fellas on there, that Drew is waving back to us. Berwick go on to 12 goals 9 to Moorabbin on 10 goals 8. Ball back into the middle. Bruce, we beat Moorabbin here last year. It was a mud heap up here, and we only played in the one game last year, and that was here. And we were successful then. We didn't play them. They played last year on the St Kilda ground, but this year they've got a different ground to play on, I believe.
Oh, have they, John? Where are they playing? This year, not too sure. Oh, right. Fair enough. They played on the St Kilda Moorabbin ground, did they? Yeah, I didn't see them away. Rod Ward with a beautiful kick, kicks it right down the full forward position for Berwick. Nobody can take the mark. This is scrambly play set up, and the umpires found a free kick to the Moorabbin player in number 28, I think it is. Number 28 is Bernie Lazaro. He's been at Moorabbin for a while too, the Lazaros have. Gets it across there to Ross Pollock. He dives onto his right boot and gets it down there, but John Kelly runs in front of him. Can't quite take the mark, but he recovers well, picks the ball up and kicks it down there, looking for Peter Allen on his own, who's dropped the first mark for the day that he's dropped, and he's got the free kick. They're all over his back, and no doubt about Peter Allen. If he makes a mistake that way, he puts himself in so that he does get that free kick, John.
He uses his body tremendously, doesn't he?
That's right, no worries about that. Probably was Berwick's best player last week, Peter Allen. Drives it in there, a little bit low, and couldn't get in front, and the ball's gone over the line, and right next to the RJ Concrete Soaring Service, 707400. RJ standing for the initials of Robert J. Sutton. There you are, Sutto. You can't say we didn't give you that plug. We made sure we have now. Now the umpire's found a free kick to Peter Allen again, and Peter Allen should put it through for a goal for the Wickers. Doesn't usually miss many. Bit of a breeze springing up here, right off the snow line. Peter Allen, body over the ball, comes in 5 or 6 steps onto his right foot, and up it goes. Nobody moves down there in the goal square. The umpire put his head back over, brings both hands down to signify a goal, and Berwick going to 13-9-87, leading Moorabbin 10-8-68. Good goal that time by Peter Allen from a free kick, John.
Yes, he's as we said, he was probably the best on the ground last week. Looking through his stats after we had a look at the replay last week, he had 25 kicks, 17 handballs. He had 11 marks, 1 free kick against, and 3 kicks for.
Right, well, there are the stats for Peter Allen last week, and the ball's bounced in the centre. Rod Ward got the tap down. Johnny McGreal trying very hard to get it out of Pack's form, and Gary Scott's got the free kick. Moorabbin starting to argue and fiddle around with the umpires. They're not happy with it at all, and it's against number 11 from Moorabbin. Sid Pappas leading the umpire, one of his fellow countrymen too, he looks like, not taking the abuse and has awarded a 15-metre penalty. Gary Scott with the ball, sends it down there. Ian Owen nearly takes a one-handed, a sort of a Paul Salmon mark, but he couldn't quite do it. Peter Allen handballs off the ground, trying to get it out, and it's a scramble, and the umpire says, I'll have this one, and he's balled it up about all right in the centre half forward position for Berwick. Umpire Dennis Blake, up it goes, good bounce from the umpire too. Moorabbin get the top down, but in runs Mick Dillon, tries to get it through handballs back there. It's knocked to the ground by the Moorabbin player, he's caught, and the umpire says you couldn't get rid of it, my boy, you're caught with the ball, and Mickey Dillon gets the kick. Now Mick Dillon has already kicked 4 goals. The Moorabbin crowd have gone quiet now, John. The Berwick fellas have come to life a bit. In comes Mickey Dillon, body over the ball beautifully well, drives it in. Umpire moves a fraction, but says it's okay, it's a goal. And the Wickets go on to 14-9, leading Moorabbin now 10-8-68. And this has got to be a major quarter for Berwick. It's over to you, John.
Yeah, Bruce, this is the quarter that we can, if we play well enough, we can get a good commanding lead and put the pressure right on Moorabbin for the last quarter. I still believe, Bruce, that there isn't a lot of breeze down there, but if there is any, it would be favouring the opposite end to where Berwick are kicking at the moment.
Right, yes. Mike Tolan with the ball now. The breeze, if there is any, going to the tennis court end of the ground. Up it goes in the centre. Rod Ward gets the tap down again, and Kevin Venville could have taken it, but he taps it on. Peter Allen runs in, and he can't get rid of the ball, and it's against Peter. It was held to him as well, I think, but anyway, he's accepted the decision. And number 10 for Greg Boyle from Moorabbin drives it down in there, and there's that number 32 again in Ross White. Ross White with the ball, a strong player, kicks it down there again. And there's nobody can take the marks from Moorabbin, but the hit come off the hands of the pack, and the Moorabbin player picks it up, and he's turned around and he snapped it through for a goal in number 20 now. Brian Cathcart. I think the determination that's needed by the Berwick players, I know I'm not out there, I'm not doing it myself, but Ross White was more or less left to stand there on his own then, John, where rather than somebody really try and grab him, even if it meant giving away a 15-metre penalty and pulling up. He turned around and he kicked a goal. He didn't take the mark, it came off the Berwick player, and therefore he should have been tackled hard and driven into the ground. The determination that Berwick have to show. Anyway, up it goes again in the centre. Rod Ward on his own taps it out to nobody really, and through Mercoulia, Jimmy Mercoulia, he gets it across there towards Venville, and Venville comes in, picks it up, and he's passed it across there to Tommy Creven. Tommy Creven plays on now and drives it in there, but it just goes over the head of Ian Owen. But in comes Powers. He should try and kick it off the ground. He doesn't. He tries to bend over and pick it up. It's a snap, and Moorabbin cleared away from that shredder line, and they've kicked it over the line and out of bounds on the full. Not many balls being kicked over the line and out of bounds on the full today, John.
Yeah, that probably last game here there was a tremendous amount of kicks went out, but it was a very swirling wind that day, Bruce, and there's nowhere near that kind of a wind today. Anyway, it looks like
Dillon?
No, it's Neville Powers who's going to take the resultant free kick out here. He's right on the boundary line, only about 30 or 40 metres out, but it's a bit of an awkward kick. But he's on his right foot, he's a right footer. He's got a lead from Gary Scott and from Dillon, but he's not going to take either. He's going to have a kick. The umpires had a real good look at this. There wasn't much of a cheer, but no wonder, Bruce, it's only 1 point, yes. The crowd down there didn't make any noise at all, and umpire waved one flag.
All right, Twiggy, get yourself a man. And I'm going to kick it to you, mate.
That's, Berwick, that's, and they're vocal down below. But it's kicked out, and away they go. The Moorabbin player takes the mark on the half-back flank, looks for his wing player, but he's... The ball came loose on that flank. It's taken again by Moorabbin, and Peter Allen intercepts. He can't hold the ball. The ball hits the ground. He hits the ground on top of it, and the umpire said, "Well, I'll have this one. We'll ball it up."
Moorabbin have just put on an interchange player, John, in Warren Hale, number 8, and they've taken a good player off, I think, David Cathcart.
Yes, he had played well. He played well early in the first quarter, both the Cathcarts, and but apparently they're not very happy with his form at the moment, and they're going to give him a rest on the bench. The ball's to be thrown in there right next to the McCausland's News Agency sign. There, the Berwick McCausland's News Agency, they support the Berwick Football Club, and we hope our fellows support them. Anyway, the ball comes loose on the half-forward flank for Moorabbin. It's Graham Stewart takes a long kick for goal, but it's marked on the goal score by Ward.
Richard Brown.
No, it's Richard Brown. Oh, great mark. He's got to go. No, he's going to... The fellow stopped dead in front of... Tommy Creven, and he just couldn't stop him, but he still took the mark. Anyway, the free kick's awarded to Warren Hale. Warren Hale, the Moorabbin team. That's just come on. It's a long kick, it's got the direction, has it got the distance, it's shepherded in the goal square there, and I think the free kick might go to Richard Brown. Richard Brown, it is Richard Brown. He looks out there for Shears. Shears gets the mark on the half-forward flank. He's got no one there to kick to. It's gone up in the middle. There's a scramble of players. 2 Moorabbin players there to sort it out. But there's a high tackle then from Robert Trigg, I think it is. Yes, it's against Trigg.
Yeah, it's that number 15, Steve Patrick. Steve Patrick.
Yeah, Steve Patrick with the ball.
Christian name.
Stephen Patrick, yeah. He gets a short pass across the centre to Pappas. Pappas gets onto his left foot, goes deep. They're all under the ball. Johnson gets pushed out, but he doesn't get the mark. Ward's got to get the free kick, surely, for over the...
No.
No? He's going to play it the other way. Gosh. Well, Bruce, that one we can have a look at tonight and slow it and slow motion.
In my opinion, the umpire missed. I thought Matt Johnson was pushed in the back. And anyway, Rod Ward pushed in the back, and as he did, the ball went out of his hands. He made no attempt to get rid of it in the umpire's eyes, and needless to say, number 29 for Steve Pappian comes in and he's kicked an easy goal.
That's brought Moorabbin back into the game considerably, Bruce, and that wasn't very doubtful free kicks from umpire Blake, I think it was. No, it wasn't. It was the other umpire, Tollons.
It was Tollons.
Tollons, that's right, Bruce. The ball's back in the centre. This is umpire break. Yes, there's a few fellas up on that hill making a bit of noise anyway. The ball has got a bit, it's hit behind the ear, and it's got to be a free kick to Johnny McGreal. He handballs to Peter Allen. Peter Allen takes his time. Left foot's looking out there for Dillon. But he's underneath the ball and can't take the mark.
Graham Beattie.
Here's Graham Beattie. He's in the back pocket taking his kick. Brings it across the ground here looking for, it's Cathcart, Brian Cathcart. He can't take the mark. Venville spoils him. And he's going to get the free kick's going to go there to the Berwick player. And it's Mick Dillon. He's been kicking very, very well at the moment, and he wouldn't give it to Venville. Venville was on his own. He's going to go back and have a kick. It's quite a low. He's certainly got the distance. Whether he's got the accuracy, no, he hasn't. It's on this side of the post, and it's only 1 point.
All I can say is bugger it. Because Dillon, it was a good kick by Dillon, a beautiful kick. He had a heap of distance, and it just went offline at the last minute. It was a goal that Berwick really needed. Well, I know we're a little bit biased up here, John. Anyway, back to you.
Yes, anyway, the kick-off's come out to McGreal. He's on the side, but it's a loose kick. It's going to bounce. No one there. It's sort of bounced very awkwardly. Scott, he couldn't get it, and Pappian got the break. But anyway, the ball's smothered. Shepherd in there. And McGreal tried to handball away, but the ball's gone out of bounds and will be thrown in on the half-forward flank on the Berwick end of the ground. Luxford in the right for Berwick. He can't get it to Peter Allen. Gets a handball out with a very good call from Tom Craven. Craven kicks beautifully down there looking for Ian, and he's got... he nearly played the mark. It was a great effort by Owen. He can't get the ball, and there's going to be a free kick. That was very unlucky for Owen. He really tried hard then, but anyway, number 15, Steve Patrick, gets the free kick back. Goes wide, finds his player on the half-back flank. In Graham Stewart with the ball. He's got to go, the ball's caught, and he's... big scramble of play, but anyway, it's got clear, but Peter Allen intercepts up the wing position right in front of the Ron Mannon's cleaning services sign. He gets it across looking for Luxford. He can't hold it. In comes McGreal. He can't pick the ball up. And there's a pile of players. The umpire calls play on, but now he decides I'll have a bounce. And it's right in the centre circle. Luxford in the rack for Berwick. Morris from Moorabbin. It's a knockout. It's cleared by Brian Cathcart from Moorabbin down there, and it goes out of bounds in front of Cowrie. He couldn't get the ball, and it's right in front of the Berwick Datsun sign. We have the Berwick Datsun proprietor down here in front of us, very vocal supporter of the Berwick team. Anyway, the ball's thrown in. It's a scramble of players. It's clear. Allen gets the ball out. No, it's not Allen. It comes loose to Allen in the end. He can't handball it, but he finally gets in on top of the Moorabbin player, and there's going to be another ball up.
Crook, one of those Moorabbin.
Ray Crook.
Moorabbin playing. Look at this. Look at John.
Gee, look at the size. Have a look at the size of the trainer running on here.
Now the trainer, he hasn't been doing his laps in my book. He hasn't been training, but what a wonderful job these trainers do, really. Now with the ball is is tapped through, is it, for a point? No, it's still in play. It hasn't been tapped through at all. It goes over the line out of bounds. Number 32 from Ross White kicked it in there, and Richard Brown got his hands to it right on the line, and it's been knocked over the line out of bounds. Now in it comes for throw in the ruck. The Moorabbin, number 11 takes it and he gets it as a throw. He's been against number 11, which is Sid Pappas, for a throw, and the Berwick will get the free kick. Free kick goes to Brett Luxford. Brett Luxford with the ball. Drives it down there across to the wing position. In runs Neville Powers. He overruns the ball, and there's number 22 in young Cathcart. Picks it up and clears beautifully. Does a great job, this David Cathcart. Back on the ground as they took an injured player off. Couldn't get it across there. In goes Calry, trying hard. Shows a lot of determination at all times. And Cal's on the bottom of the pack, and the umpire says the pack's formed. I'll have it. We'll ball it up. When Rod Ward is not on the ball, I think the Moorabbin ruck seem to take over, in my opinion. Here's Brett Luxford going up against Pappas again. He gets a tap down. In comes number 16 from Pollock. Pollock drives it across there, and in comes the other Moorabbin players on his own as number 29. He screws it round. It's a sort of a snapshot, but to save the day there is Gary Scott. Gary Scott playing a very serviceable game for the Wickers. He wants him to go back and kick over his mark. Steve Pappen had a snap at it, but Gary Scott read the play really well and saved the day for Berwick right on the line. He's got to go back and take his kick and kick over his mark. Scores this stage are Berwick 14-11-95, leading Moorabbin 12-8-80. 15 points of difference halfway into the third quarter. Short little chip shot across there, puts him under pressure, but Matt Johnson takes the mark. The umpire's blowing the whistle. Matty Johnson with it. He says play on now. He's got a handball back into centre half forward position for Berwick to Ray Cook. He drives it there with a good pass to Tommy Crebin, who reads the play well again, and he drives it down there looking for Robbie Trigg. Robbie Trigg from behind taps it down and runs on. Ronnie Trigg in front. He's pushed in the back. The umpire hasn't seen it. Mick Dillon picked it up and drove it in there with a beautiful pass straight to Ian Owen, who took it with a beautiful pair of hands there. Great pass. Robbie Trigg, good play from him. He tapped the ball along the ground. Mick Dillon read it well and drive it down here to Ian Owen. Berwick making position, getting out in their own. Ian Owen lines them up, comes in and kicks another one. That'll be 4 goals for Ian Owen. 4 goals, 1 in, I think. 4 goals for Ian Owen without any worries, and Berwick go on now to 15-11, leading Moorabbin 12-8-80.
Beautiful.
Pity you couldn't find 2 jackets, Steve. Rod Blake with the ball, Dennis Blake with the ball. Everything fairly quiet at this stage as the umpire comes in to bounce the ball. In the ruck is Brett Luxford. Up Brett Luxford goes for Berwick, but the Moorabbin player number 6 taps it to the ground. Here's Pollock trying to pick it up. He can't do so. Luxford underneath him. Tries to get out to Crebin, who gets his leg across it, pulls it in underneath him. The Moorabbin player's in his back and he gets a free kick. Plays on. Robbie Trigg can't quite hold the mark. Gets underneath it. Here's Powers now. Being held when not in possession. A free kick to Powers, but anyway the umpire hasn't seen it. Here's this Steve Patrick trying hard. He can't do it. The umpire says a pack's formed. I'll have the ball, and he'll ball it up right in front of the Moorabbin Brains Trust in the coach's box. In comes Dennis Blake with the ball, bounced up they go again. Brett Luxford gets a tap down, but Moorabbin intercept, run through the pack there beautifully. Number 10, it's across to Pollock. In comes Pollock from Moorabbin now, on his left foot, kicks it round there, and there's number 29, Ross White, takes the mark. Just in front of Matt Johnson. Ross White drives it in there, looking for his full forward, and the big ruckman in Pappas. Pappas can't quite grab it. He has 2 bites and can't hold it, but down it comes. Johnny Cowley couldn't get it, and Pappen. So we've got out here a Sid Pappas, and we've got a Pappen, haven't we?
Yep.
Sid Pappas is the ruckman, and Pappen is the fellow that's just kicked it over the line and out of bounds on the full. Richard Brown with the ball. He'll have a kick in. Nobody making position much. Mick Dillon trying to make a lead out across the centre of the ground. In front there's Ray Crook, but Richard Brown elects to have a big kick. Up it goes, high in the air, looking for Rod Ward. He taps it down, looking for McGreal. Here's Calry. In comes Calry now. He picks it up right on the line. It's beautifully smothered by the Moorabbin player in number 3. It's Gary Atherton, and it goes over the line and out of bounds right in front of the Berwick Social Club, just down below our broadcasting point. Rod Ward, see what I mean about him being brought back into the ruck. He gets a tap down each time, but Moorabbin clean it well, and here's Curry to save for the Wickers. He gets it onto his right foot, looking for Alan on the centre, and in front of him runs McGreal, Jim McGreal. Down to the ground it comes. Moorabbin pick it up. They can't get rid of it, and they found a free kick to Moorabbin. Moorabbin's number 20. It's one that's Brian Cathcart this time. Brian Cathcart. He's the one without the transfers on his arms, John. Right, yeah, the one without the pictures. Brian Cathcart kicks it high in the air. Richard Brown from behind nearly goes a free kick away. Nobody can take the mark. Down it comes to the ground. It packs for him, and he's found a free kick, and he's given it to Ray Crook. Ray Crook with the ball now, just in front of the Berwick Sports and Toy World sign. Kicks it on his right foot straight down the centre of the ground. Tommy Cleven's making possession on his own. He handballs across to Gary Scott. Gary Scott on the right boot, who's looking for young Brett Luxford. He takes the mark. Another play away and he handballs to Gary Scott running through, and there goes Gary Scott now looking for Robbie Trigg, but in front of Trigg he comes from the Moorabbin player in number 3, which is Gary Atherton. He takes the mark. Now Triggy grabs him, hauls him to the ground, has given a free kick away upfield, so therefore the player of Moorabbin is number 6, Craig Morris, will get the kick. No need for that really from Triggy that time, but anyway he thought he'd make him earn his kick, and the Moorabbin people making a change again. That's the other Cathcart. He's the one. No, it's not. It's number 7, Graham Stewart. He's got some pictures too. Right across the ground it goes now, Moorabbin into attack. Moorabbin player with the ball. Not too sure what the umpire's talking about or having. There's a bit of tapping going on down here between Ray Crook and the back line. The Moorabbin player comes in, lines him up, puts it onto his boot. Wobbly old kick, going to fall short, and the Matt Johnson mark again. Handballs across to Richard Brown. Brilliant play all the time. Not much of a lead from any of the Berwick players. Up goes Robbie Trigg. Down the road, Peter Allen can't get himself into position. The Moorabbin player went through his legs in David Cathcart, Brian Cathcart it was. He gets it across there. Gary Scott with a handball back to Mick Dillon now. Mick Dillon with the ball. Has one bounce, 2 bounces. Gets it up, picks it up onto his left foot. That time screws it across to Peter Allen in the centre. At the back is Kevin Venville reading the play real well. And have a look at this. He drives it in. He kicks for goal. There's nobody home. And it's only gone through for 1 point. Bounced this side of the post. And it results in 1 point. Berwick 15-12, 102. Leading Moorabbin 12-8-80. Over to you, John.
Thanks, Bruce. Yes, that was a good chance for a goal there. He had plenty of time to run in, but unfortunately resulted in only 1 point. Well, Moorabbin come away with the ball. They handball, about 3 handballs out to Cathcart. He's got the ball out here to number 29. Oh, he just ducked his head under Puppy, and he ducked his head. Get out of it, Matty. Look at this number. They're all running in here to join in. They all want to be part of it. The umpire's trying to get his book out. He has got his book out. He's putting it away again. He hasn't written anything in it so far. If they all spread out and get out of it, then we won't have any problem. The umpire's advisor out there talking to the umpire, the emergency umpire, talking to number 3. Number 3 and number 7, they're having a lot. Gary Atherton and Graham Stewart.
I've had a bit of fire straight up.
It's certainly livened things, but Matt Johnson.
And he drove the player to the ground, John. Matt Johnson was hit now. They've got to settle these players down, these umpires. They'll lose control there.
Well, that's good to see the umpire come out and have a word to them. Anyway, the ball's loose, and then Peter Allen's got loose with the ball in the centre of the ground. He dodges past his opponent, picks for Tommy Cream with a poor handball. Crevin recovers, picks it up, looking there for Ian Owen. He can't take the mark. Powell's ran past, but he wasn't there either, and the ball hits the ground. It's a scramble of play, and it's the umpire down there who's going to bounce the ball. Anyway, we can hear these comments from down below. It sounds very interesting. Anyway, it's got to be a free kick there to Brett Luxford. Yes, unfortunately they've moved away. Brett Luxford's got the one in the back. He's hurt him a little bit. He's hobbling back, but he's going to take the kick. I'm sure that'll help recover a little bit.
Put that through, Luxy.
We've got a few Moorabbin supporters down here telling the emergency umpire what his job is, and I don't think he's very happy about it. Anyway, Brett Luxford in the meantime takes the free kick, and he's put it right through the middle, and it's another goal on the board to Berwick to take them on to 16-12, 108 to Moorabbin, 12 goals, 9, 81.
That's Brett Luxford's first goal, John, from a free kick. Yeah, the umpire's advisor during that melee decided emergency umpire and helper left his seat and bored out on the ground to give the umpires a bit of a hand, but the Moorabbin fella's telling him that his job is to remain seated and be ready to come onto the ground in case he's needed, not for that action. Now it's against Rod Ward that time, the first mistake he's made in the ruck all day in my opinion, and with the ball is the Moorabbin ruckman in Sid Pappas. Sid Pappas drives it down long. There's a Moorabbin player on his own. He can't quite take the mark, but he picks it up, recovers well. Papon kicks it over there, nobody can do it, and it's pushed through by Ray Crook for 1 point for the Moorabbin side. Good play by Crook, thinking well, rather than trying to keep it in play there, and perhaps a goal could have been kicked off the ground by Moorabbin. Out on his own is Matt Johnson now, and it's kicked to him from Ray Crook. Matt Johnson drives it in here looking for Tommy Creven. Tommy Creven can't take the mark though, and it goes over the line and out of bounds. Right in front of the commentary position here, and the Berwick players race. In it comes. Peter Allen's got to take the knock. There's nobody there to take it. Up goes Peter Allen. Can't quite get the knock down, but Calry rows the pack really well, gets his kick in the centre of the ground, and in comes Neville Powell. He's running through, and he just can't do anything with it, but the Moorabbin player picks it up and drives it out there across to Ross Pollock. Ross Pollock, former Moorabbin with the ball now, kicks it in there looking for his the player in number 20, which is the other Cathcart, Brian Cathcart, and he takes a safe mark just in front of Matt Johnson, and he will have a shot for goal. Number 20 for Moorabbin with the ball is Brian Cathcart. Put the ball on the ground, he's straightening his socks up, getting everything right. They've all taken a leaf out of the Paul Salmon's book, John. And he comes, Brian Cathcart, kicks it long and high. Nobody moves, it's a good goal for Moorabbin, one they need desperately at this stage, and it takes them on to 13-10-88. Berwick leading Moorabbin 16-12, 108 points. Third quarter must be well underway, John.
Yes, it must be very close to three-quarter time. That was a handy goal from Moorabbin, kept them back in the game. They're only 20 points down at this stage, and that was Brian Cathcart, one of the two brothers that put that one through to keep Moorabbin going at this stage. Anyway, the ball's back in the centre, and we've got umpire Talons bouncing the ball. Ward for Berwick, he gets the knockout, he picks the ball up off the ground, kicks long, looking out there for Luxford, and Luxford in front of his player takes the mark. He's trying to handball to Creven going past, but he was held and couldn't get away with it. So he takes a short kick looking for Owen. Owen the lead. There's a heap of players up there, and the ball comes loose. There's 4 or 5 players running loose on their own there with Moorabbin, but not one of them but the Berwick players there. Anyway, it's picked up by Hale. And he's kicked out of bounds on the full, so it's going to be a free kick down here to Scott. Now it looks like Berwick are going to make a change. There's McMaster's here ready to come on. The runner Cliffy Donegan's out there looking for somebody to pull off. Anyway, Peter Allen meanwhile takes the mark on the half forward flank. And it's, Robbie Trigg couldn't hold that ball. It went right through his arms and legs. Anyway, the ball comes loose and it's McGreal, yes, it is McGreal who got the kick, but he didn't find any. It was taken by Moorabbin. They clear out from their back pocket position. Looking down the centre for Pappas. Pappas takes the mark in front of Ward. Tries to play on. Ward holds him back, and the umpire tells him to go back. Now he's decided to give him 15 metres. Ward is running back. Anyway, he's got his kick. Got a lead from downfield. They all fly for it, and there's no one can take the mark. Here's Callery again out, dashing out in that back pocket. Looks out there down the wing to try and find Powell, but the Moorabbin player was in front, and the ball gets pushed out of bounds.
I'd just like to say that Jim McMaster's come onto the ground from a move, either directed from the coach's box. I see Cliff Donegan running across the other side of the ground now. I see that Berwick Braves trust in Tonks and Donegan and Jimmy Howe and Jimmy Reid are over the other side of the ground. I just wondered why Cliff Donegan was getting his orders, but he has been over there with them, so I'll take all that back after that beautiful bit of assumption. I was just about ready to give them a cook for that they should be all together. Now it's three-quarter time. The three-quarter time scores are 16-12, 108. Berwick leading Moorabbin 13-10, 88. Now, John, I'll leave you to do the three-quarter time interview, or I'll go down and see what I can find out on the ground at three-quarter time from the 2 or 3 of the boys.
Right, the three-quarter time interview today. We've got Col Murphy, an ex-Berwick footballer. Col, you played with Berwick in 2 premiership teams, is that right?
Oh, I did, yes. I was lucky enough to play in the 2 premiership teams and a couple of runners-up as well. John, yeah.
Good, Col, a thing that might be mentioning, in one of those premiership teams a very strange incident happened. Would you like to tell our viewers what happened that particular day?
This might be the famous goal, is it, Righty? While I was at Berwick, I was probably not renowned for my kicking prowess, particularly the distance I could kick, and it just so happened in this grand final we were playing Chelsea Heights, and it was nearing the end of the game. It was a rather close game, in fact, and close to the end of the game I'd taken a mark probably 45 yards or so out in the forward pocket, and going back to have a kick, and I've strolled in and put boot to ball, and she's gone through the air, and as it's gone through the air, the siren's gone and everyone's gone wild and run onto the ground, and I was the only one, I think, that noticed that the ball went through the goals, in fact, and there was a goal registered, and I had to run around telling everyone at the end of the game, in fact, that I'd kicked the last goal, but couldn't have too many believers, unfortunately, but I've tried to convince a few.
Yeah, I believe your father was about the only person that said he saw it.
Yes, he fired a lot of my kicks. There's always been a lot of money bet sort of under on the outer when I've been having shots for goal, so he always took a bit of interest in it.
Col, there's been a few changes since you've left Berwick. As everybody realises, we've moved into the VFA. Comments from you of what you think after watching this game?
Yes, well, I think as I'm sort of trying to always think back and what the standard's like now compared to when I was in the Southwest, and I think I was fortunate enough to be playing in the Southwest when standards were quite good, and there was a lot of ex-VFA players playing in it, and but from what I see, I think Berwick's improved. I hope to try and get out a couple of times each year, and I think over the time that they've been in there, they're improving, and the standard of game that they're playing, I think, is coming up to scratch as what's required in VFA. They saw a few fundamental mistakes today, I think, but I think they're doing the right thing, and time will tell, and I'm sure they'll improve, and they're playing a pretty good standard of football, I think.
Good. Col, also a lot of the younger players out there, you may have seen some in your day before you actually left Berwick. What year was it when you left, Col?
I left in 1980.
1980. Well, some of those young fellas would have been playing then. Do you feel that they've improved, or do you think that perhaps with remarks from Donegan down there?
Donegan, yes, there's a few of the old stages still around, and we try to not worry too much about them at times.
But the younger players, Col, what do you think?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of new faces out there, and there's a lot of younger ones that have come up, and there's still Mr. Calorie, who was here when I was here, and he's a bit of a marvel. But well, I think a lot of them have, they've kicked on, and I think the experience is the big thing. You've got a bit of talent to start with, but certainly the experience is a telling factor, and they've come on with experience, and I suppose they'll knuckle down and continue to improve, hopefully, for the benefit of Berwick.
That's for sure. Col, are you still playing football, or have you retired?
No, I retired last year, John. I've I was saying to Jimmy Howe before, I still like to play, I think, but as long as I didn't have to train, it's like everyone. I think the training gets to you after a while, but I still think I'd like to have a kick, but you can't play unless you train, so I gave it away.
Fair enough. Well, Col, thanks very much for coming up here this afternoon. We're very pleased to see you along, and we hope to see you in future games.
Thanks very much, John. My pleasure, and I'll certainly, as I said, try to get along as often as I can.
Right, now it's time to start the last quarter of this game between Berwick and Moorabbin. Peter Allen spoke to the players at three-quarter time, letting them know that there's only 3 goals in this. Moorabbin have kept themselves in the game. In the mind, you've got to start kicking 2 players out on their own and not in packs. It was the main thing that he said at three-quarter time. All the boys lined up fairly well. Robbie Trigg's ankle stood up to it. He kept himself warm at the three-quarter time break, and I think you'll see Robbie Trigg go on with the game without any injury worries. Matt Johnson's knee standing up to it well. and there hasn't been any great positional changes at this stage. Peter Allen probably putting himself back in the centre. John McGreal is on the bench, and we're ready to go again to start the last quarter of the big one between Berwick and Moorabbin. Umpire's just looking around the ground to make sure that the ground is clear of spectators, and he'll come in to bounce the ball.
Just before the ball's bounced, remind all you fellas in that room inside in the social club watching that there's a 100-can raffle in there, and the tickets are available from the bar and from Brian Smith, so if you see him around there, go and spend some money. Anyway, the ball's bounced, and it's a scramble up there in the centre, and the umpire's found a free kick. It's going to go to Moorabbin. It's Greg Boyle. He kicks long down, looking for this full forward across the pack. But it's Calorie. Yes, Calorie gets clear. Can't quite get rid of the ball. Looking for Tommy Creven. He gets the kick, but it's come wide on this side of the ground, and there's no one there except the Moorabbin player, number 11 for Moorabbin, and that's Pappas. Sid Pappas. He gets his kick. Looking down there for full forward, right across the back, and it's a big mark to Richard Brown.
Good mark by Richard Brown, John, that time. He flew high and took a real good safe mark. Now he's looking for somebody to kick to. A little bit too slow to make position at times, Berwick, but Peter Allen's in the centre of the ground. It goes over the back. Jim McMaster couldn't take the mark either, and they've handballed Moorabbin across to number 20 in Cathcart. Running through is Richard Brown, showing a bit of dash. He can't quite pick the ball up though, and he was held when he didn't have the ball, but the umpire says wasn't held, it was just a touch, and the ball was going over the line and out of bounds right in front of that ANZ Bank sign. In it comes Rod Ward in the ruck, takes the ball, gets it knocked out of his hand. Down to the ground it goes, he's pushed in the back, and the umpire, slow with the whistle, but decides that there's a free kick, and the free kick will go to Rod Ward. Rod Ward with the ball on his right boot, kicks it down, a wobbly kick from Wardy, a usually better kick to that Moorabbin player, takes the mark and plays on immediately. Up it goes to the Moorabbin centre half forward. Pollock recovers and picks up the ball. He handballs across there to number 10 in Greg Boyle. Greg Boyle drives it in, and I'll tell you what, I think he's kicked a goal. No, only 1 point. A saviour there for Berwick, when being only a point, that takes Moorabbin on to 13-11. Trailing Berwick 16-12, 108. Well, they've had a good day in the canteen, John. Anyway, that's all they've got left is hot dogs. I thought I'd sneak in there and perhaps get one of those beautiful pasties, but there was none of the bloody things left, and I'm not real wrapped in hot dogs, so I've missed out. But anyway, we'll catch a feed later.
Oh, that's good to hear. The girls are doing a magnificent job in there for us in Cheryl Hawkett and Faye Fletcher, of course. Yeah, they've taken over and running that for us this year. Anyway, back to the game, and there's a trip. Number 22 for Moorabbin, David Cathcart. Poor kick, goes into the centre of the ground. And there's a scramble of players, no one can get it. Cowrie finally gets the ball out, looks for Tommy Creven. He can't get it, but he's got plenty of chance to pick it up. Looks out there for a good mark to Brett Luxford. Handball's on, yes, that's Richard Brown. Richard Brown, handball's on poorly this time though, and it's gone.
He's held when he delivered it.
It went to a Moorabbin player who was tackled when he dropped the ball, and it's going to be a free kick to Moorabbin. Centre half back takes his kick. Johnson goes across, there's about 4 or 5 guys ply for it. The ball hits the ground, nothing happens, and the umpire's found another free kick out to the Moorabbin player. I think this time it's not thrown back on the full, and he's going to give him 15 metres. It's the Moorabbin player, takes his kick, kicks in towards goal. Cowrie's down there against the 2 Moorabbin players and takes the mark.
Never took his eyes off the ball, did he, John? John Cowrie never took his eyes off the ball. Great mark.
Yeah, he's got Peter Allen out on this wing and Robbie Ward, but Peter Allen takes. No, he doesn't. He pushes it on, but it's picked up by Tommy Creven. He gets the ball, pushed on a little bit. McMaster cops one around the ear as he goes in to get the ball, and he'll take the free kick. Jimmy Masters there. Takes his kick, looks across the centre, looking for Robbie Trigg. He can't take the mark. The ball hits the ground, and the Moorabbin fellow, number 15, he drops the ball. Steve Patrick, he couldn't hold it. The ball scrambled away. It's picked up by Matty Johnson out of the pack. A short pass, finds Ian Owen beautifully on the chest. Within kicking distance, Ian Owen, kicking for his 5th goal for the day. Ian's first game for Berwick. The Beaconsfield player, he joined us at the beginning of the year and was out injured from the practice match. He goes back, has a kick, the umpire has a good look, and it's only 1 point. takes Berwick on to 16 goals, 12, 109 to 11, 13 goals, 11, Moorabbin, 89. Where the ball comes out onto the half-back flank for Moorabbin. Brace clear in the pack, but I think the umpire's found a free kick to Moorabbin again. It's another free kick to Moorabbin, yes. And here's another 15-metre penalty for arguing.
Silly by Richard Brown then, John. Silly play by Richard Brown. He pulled the ball along the ground out of the Moorabbin player's hand and infringed another 15-metre penalty. Anyway, I didn't want to take the microphone from you, John, but I've got it now, so I'll carry on. Gary Scott, been a great player for Berwick all day, clears well, and Moorabbin take the mark in number 28 for them is Bernie Lazaro. Bernie Lazaro with the ball. It's another 15-metre penalty and curve. He kicks over the mark and he finds Ross Pollock. Ross Pollock from Moorabbin grabs it, drops it on his right boot, kicks it out wide to nobody in particular, but the Moorabbin player runs in there and runs the ball over the line and out of bounds, just near the concrete. No, it's the garden services and sign, and in between the concrete soaring service sign and the garden service sign. That's where the ball is at this stage, but Matty Johnson picked it up off the pack and he kicked it high in the air. Nobody can take the mark. It beats them over the top of them. Moorabbin player punched on, but in there Jimmy McMaster trying hard for Berg. In runs Kelly, gives McMaster a chance to pick up, and he handballs across to Matt Johnson, who never stops running, never stops anticipating where the play's going to be. And number Gary Scott copped one badly and hit the ground, and the umpires found a free kick. I was not too sure what for, because I was watching Gary Scott, who's hurt himself. We need a trainer on the ground. Jim McMaster kicks it high in the air, and it's tapped on the back by Neville Powers across to Mick Dillon, who's nearly caught with the ball, but shows a bit of dash and runs away. And he kicks it over there, and Ian Owen takes one on the chest. Cliff Donegan racing out to check Gary Scott. Marcus Johnson, he's out there, and it's Marcus Johnson's birthday today too, John, and one of our great Berwick trainers. He's been here since 9 o'clock this morning, training the Berwick under-11s, and it's Kaka's birthday. Happy birthday, Marcus. All the very best from up here in the commentary box. And Ian Owen puts it through for a goal for the Wickers, and they go on to 17-13, leading Moorabbin, 13-11-83. Yeah, Marcus Johnson's birthday, mate. We'll have to get in the big pot later on.
Yeah, my word, that's good to see. He's, as Bruce mentioned, he's been a tremendous help.
Marcus's birthday, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and he'd certainly enjoy that.
Mark, that's Ian Owen's fifth, or it might be sixth.
No, Ian Owen's kick 5, Bruce, at the moment. Anyway, the ball's back in the centre. The umpire, it's Towel on with the ball. He bounces it, and the Ward gets the knockout, but he goes to a Moorabbin player. He gets clear of the pack, takes his kick, looking for his half-forward flanker, but down there's Shears. He can't take the ball. Coming over to help him was Matthew Johnson. Knocks it out of bounds, and the umpire's going to pay it out of bounds deliberate. I don't think Matty's very popular with these umpires, Bruce. He must be saying a few things to them on the ground. Anyway, meantime, there's a free kick there to David Cathcart this time, right on the boundary line in the forward pocket for Moorabbin. It's quite a nice kick. It's certainly got a bit of distance, but it hasn't got the accuracy. But it just comes down. It's dropped in front for a Moorabbin player. All he has to do is kick it, but he hit the post.
Hit the post.
He ran loose in the goal square, took a hurried kick, and the ball hit the post, which resulted in one more point for Moorabbin, taking them on to 13 goals, 12. Now the ball's kicked out for Berwick. It's Ward with the ball. Handballs out into the open spaces. There's no one there. A race for the ball. Tommy Craven runs in. He can't pick it up. Played very well today, Tom Craven. And the umpire's found another free kick out of this, and it goes to the Moorabbin player, Pappas. He looks down for the centre half forward, but he can't take the mark. It comes loose on the flank. There's a handball across. Gary Scott goes in, knocks the ball clear. Here's a go to Ward. Ward picks it up off the ground, uses strength. Cathcart tries to claim him, but he's too big. Anyway, the ball comes loose, and Moorabbin get it again off the ground. Kicked down towards the forward pocket, and I think he's kicked it out of bounds on the full. Yes, and the free kick will go to Gary Scott. Gary Scott's limping out there on that flank. Bruce, he doesn't seem to be too fit. He finds Peter Allen though with a nice pass just in front of the pack and Mitsubishi sign. He kicks long. Here's McMasters. He can't pick the ball up. He turns back onto his foot, but he's got himself into trouble. The ball came on the ground. It's picked up by Luxford. He can't find Trigg. Ian Owen knocks the ball beautifully back to Dillon. Dillon gets his boot too, but I think he's missed the chance. Owen runs across. Grabbed round the neck, but it's the ball's allowed to be played on. The umpire goes out of bounds, but now he's found a push in the back to the Moorabbin player. That's what he indicated. Anyway, it's a free kick to Coates. Coates takes his kick along there. There's all fly for the ball, and it's a good mark for the man in front, the Moorabbin player. He's got two men running loose in the centre. They both go at it. Shears goes across the top, knocks the ball away. Ward's in there with it. He can't pick it up. Now he does. He's tripped as he gets the ball, but it's still loose. He has another chance. Gets it out this time to Trigg. Trigg gets a little kick looking there for Tommy Craven, and he's taken a good mark about 45. No, it's Dillon, yeah. Rob Dillon about 45 metres out on an angle.
Thanks, John. Yeah, onto the ground, Daryl Smith is going to come onto the ground for Berwick. They're making a change as Mick Dillon has the ball in the half-forward flank position for Berwick. Robbie Trigg coming off the ground. An injury must be worrying him. And Mick Dillon kicks it straight through the centre. Not a doubt. The umpire never moved. Nobody else did either. 6 goals to Dillon now.
5 goals to Owen.
5 goals to Owen at this stage.
Trigg, 1 to Luxford.
1 to Trigg, 1 to Luxford.
1 to Smith, 1 to Venville.
1 to Venville, 1 to Ward, and 1 to Smith. Daryl Smith on the ground now as Robbie Trigg comes off the ground. I think the injury, that ankle injury that kept him out from the Dandenong practice matches, he fell on it earlier today, and Berwick have gone on to a fairly handy lead now, so they've decided to give Triggy a break on the bench, and Daryl Smith is on the ground. Now in the centre of the ground, up they come. Luxford taps it down beautifully that time, but the Moorabbin player is the only one there and picks it up. It's young Cathcart. Cathcart gets it across there towards his teammate, who plays the ball well, and his brother it is too, David Cathcart. He gets it across there and outruns the big fella in number 32 for them is Ross White. Ross White with the ball on the far side of the ground. It's in front of one of the training lights. Ross White with the ball comes in. One sock up and one sock down. Onto the right foot, swinging away, and I'll tell you what, it'll be 1 point. 1 point could have nearly been out of bounds. 13-13 now. They go on to 91. Trailing Berwick 18-13, 121. Now Ray Crook kicking out for the Wickers, makes it short, drives it into Matt Johnson. He takes it on his chest. George Lett put the pressure on Matty Johnson. I found that really, like he had to be there to try and stop Matt getting away with it. The umpire said it's a 15-metre penalty. Gives Matt a clearance, a great kick right in the centre of the ground that beats them all. Here's little Calvary running after it again with Cathcart. And they've run all the way from the back pocket, the pair of them. And he's got a free kick for in the back against Calvary. There's from Gus Mercoulia. That's near enough. Anyway, he kicks it across into the centre of the ground. Richard Brown gets pushed in the back. Umpire Tolong was right there on the job. He sees it without any worries. And Richard Brown will have a kick. A good kick, Richard Brown. He should kick it long. And another couple of goals to just help the Wiggers with percentage. But he goes for short one, doesn't kick it over his mark. The umpire says you can't do that. Allen was out on his own. I find it hard to understand why he can't. The ball's got back to him. But yesterday in that Essendon Fitzroy game, John, it was unbelievable. 3 times he made Gary Pert go back and kick it over his mark. We couldn't work it out. And then the next kick he did, he kicked it straight the way he did the first time. It was all right. Now what happened there? Anyway, we're back here. Rod Ward on the mark that time. Moorabbin kick it down, and Matt Johnson didn't go for the ball, but George Lett, the Moorabbin full forward, went right over the top of Matty Johnson, and Matt Johnson handballs across there to Mick Dillon. Mick Dillon with the ball now. Played well, Mick Dillon all day for the Wickers. Kicks it out there on the wing position. Goes over the pack. Peter Allen couldn't do much with it, but the Moorabbin player tapped it down to Jim McMaster. Jim McMaster's got the ball. He's got in all sorts of trouble, but clears through to handball to Allen, who handballs across the ground to Calvary. He can't pick it up. Nearly kicking in danger or the head, but across the ground it goes, and the ball's beaten them. It goes over the line and out of bounds. Right between the Berwick Datsun sign and the Berwick family footwear sign. In it comes. Luxford in the ruck again. Pappas gets the tap down though. Jim McMaster went for the ball, puts himself in front, and he's pushed in the back, and the umpire says a free kick. Jim McMaster, number 1 for the Wickers, with the ball now. Drives it in, right foot kick. Right in the centre position, looking for Owen and Ward. It's a Berwick mark. They both had their hands on it. It'll be the man in front of Ian Owen. Wouldn't matter, John. They're both good kicks, and I'd say that we should see another major score for the Wickers here through Ian Owen. Ian Owen already kicked. Who's that down there? Have a look. Ian Owen's already kicked 5, and getting ready to go for number 6. In it goes. Ian Owen with the ball. Straight, nobody moves again. As I said before, Wardy going in, giving Ian Owen a bit of encouragement. It's another goal, and the wickets go on to 19-13, 127, leading Moorabbin 13-12-90. And Berwick going away with it in this stage. Now, John, what was that message?
Former player Robbie He just running around there has just become a father of a little baby boy, and he's very excited. So we wish both him and his wife Robin all the best and the new baby. Anyway, the ball's back in the centre. Umpire Tollins comes in to bounce the ball. Brett Luxford for Berwick in the red, gets it out to Alan. Alan breaks clear of the pack, finds Tommy Cribben, he's going to be caught. Couldn't get rid of the ball quick enough.
Tom Cribben,
anyway, it's picked up by Ross Pollock. Pollock can't get rid of the ball. In goes Pappas, he can't get it. It's a scramble of play. Here's a chance for Berwick with a pick up and a quick handball there from Mick Shears it was. Mick Shears to Carey. Carey got the kick. And number 8 caught by Tommy Cribben this time. But the umpire's called play on. Powers gets it across to Ian Owen. He takes the kick. Oh, he's dropped after he's taken the kick.
It's a goal.
But I think he's kicked a goal. He's kicked a goal, so the umpires and the other umpires run up to speak to number 17 of Graham Beattie. It is of Moorabbin.
Great goal by Ian Owen.
It was a goal, and he doesn't have to.
I don't know if the camera's on him or not.
Doesn't have to go back and have another kick, but he was surely going to get a second kick if that one hadn't have gone through. It's a beautiful kick.
7 goals for Ian Owen.
7 goals to Ian Owen, that's right, and 6 goals to Mick Dillon. So the Berwick score now goes on to 20 goals 13 to 13 goals 12. 20 goals 13, 133 to 13 goals 12, 90 points. Now we've been playing approximately 17 minutes into this quarter, Bruce, and it's Calorie. He can't pick the ball up. He's great. Peter Allen. And Peter Allen's going to get the resultant free kick here, although it's penalising the team because Dillon was away. Anyway, he's brought back behind his goal and his handballs to Johnson, but he won't even let him do that. He's going to make him go right back behind that mark and take his kick. Anyway, decides he'll go long this time, kicks it straight down the centre. There's a couple of players there. Smith, he couldn't get to it. It's taken by the Moorabbin player and Lazarus. So he can't get the kick and it's forced out of bounds.
Weak stuff, 8! Weak stuff!
Oh, yes, he's I think he might get himself recalled.
You fool!
Warren Hale tried to be a little bit smarter and came off second better, yeah, but it was a poor kick from Cribben. It's taken away by him.
Player for them, that Warren Hale. Stupid stuff by him, John, that number 8 from Moorabbin. Stupid stuff.
Comments from Bruce Redpath. Anyway, the ball's down here and it's number 3, Atherton of Moorabbin with the ball. His kick's intercepted beautifully there on the like Brown it is. He gets across to it. Alan, he's on the wing.
A great game,
He's playing well again, playing real well. Great captain's game, coach. Looks out there, looking for Ian Owen. He goes up one-handed, can't handle the ball. Picked up by Moorabbin and cleared. The Moorabbin players put down after the ball, and I think the umpire's going to play a free kick. It certainly is. I've got a beautiful big coat here that I borrowed off one of our seconds players, bloke by the name of Steve Slater. You can see him standing down there with shirt sleeves shivering away. Anyway, in the meantime, the Moorabbin get the ball downfield and they kick to goal.
How warm are you?
It's another goal. I just gave you a mention, Steve. I noticed you're freezing down there. Anyway, meanwhile, Moorabbin have kicked that goal and they've also made an interchange. They brought on number 42, he's Len Vaughan, and they've taken off number 7, Graham Beattie.
Yeah, Johnny, it's got real cold up here on this roof. I'm not coming up here next time without a jacket or jumper. I can tell you, the day's turned into a cold one. Right, 4:45 the time. Peter Allen gets it out of the centre, taps it across towards Cribben, but Allen goes to Shepherd. Cribben's going to get the ball off the ground. He handballs to Ward. Matt Johnson running past with one hand, taps it past Pappas, and in comes Jim McMaster. Jim McMaster nearly held when not in possession. He gets the ball. He can't get rid of it. No way, sir. It's not ball at all. He couldn't get rid of the ball. The umpire says, LTU will ball it up in the centre of the ground. Up he goes. Bad bounce from Tollong. Pappas gets it, grabs it, and knocked to the ground by Allen. Allen runs in again. Another Moorabbin player on the ground underneath him, and he's fighting all the way through. Bullocking work, and the Moorabbin player there held the ball. He couldn't get rid of it. Same decision as the one before, and umpire Mike Tollong will ball it up on the centre half forward position for Berwick. Only two players back there right in the goal square is Owen and the new interchange player on the ground from over. Wardy gets a tap down, knocks it down to Powell's.
Got the players confused. No one knows.
No one, I'm not too sure exactly what's happening here as Tollong bounces the ball again. Up it goes. Big tap down, that time by the ruckman from Moorabbin in Pappas. Tommy Crebin out in his own, bends over, picks it up, he handballs across to the back pocket player for Berwick. Berwick is Calvary, he's had a lot of kicks, that's right, but there's been better players than him. Ian Owen there, he's grabbed too high, he's done everything, and he's put the ball down, and the umpire says it's a free kick. I thought there was one or two before that, John. I thought Owen was held too high myself. He's found a 15-metre penalty, and on comes the interchanger. Pushes him back. Oh, great stuff from an interchange player. On he comes. Over to Pappas, but Mick Shears runs in between him, can't take the mark, knocks to the ground and plays it on to Richard Brown. Richard Brown picks it up beautifully, and he's having a look, and he's going to line him up and drives it in there, and he's back pocket. Player has kicked it in, and it's only 1 point. Richard Brown, that time all the way from the back pocket, John. Put it through for 1 point.
Yeah, ran all the way up the ground, followed the ball through beautifully, picked it up, took a long kick, but unfortunately with only 1 point. Anyway, there's a kick off here, and it's Tommy Crebin's in the band that takes the mark. He's got a hand pass here to Venville. Venville can run into an open goal, takes his time, and it's another goal to Berwick.
Another goal!
Kevin Venville. That's Kevin's second goal.
That's the sealer.
That's looks like at this stage we've played 22 minutes into the quarter.
I'll give you like the automatic voice of Norman Fee again in the background, John. Yeah, what of time scores from other grounds.
Anyway, the score here. Game goes on. The Moorabbin get it out of the centre. They've got a chance on this half-forward flank. It's Atherton takes his kick. It's a long kick down. I think it's out of bounds on the full, and Ray Cook will take the free kick. And as Ray Cook takes his kick in the back pocket, there's 2 or 3 players going for it. And Tommy Crebin over the top takes a beautiful mark. Over to Gary Scott. Gary Scott steadies. Looks out there for Peter Allen. Allen takes the mark. He's held. Can't get away to take the handball to get the flow on game going, but now he's got a 15-metre penalty.
Thinks all the time, Peter Allen, never stops thinking.
Yeah, the opening goes, he gets it to Scott, who runs past. He's out there looking for Smith, but Smith's out of position there, and he's taken on the back line by Hale. Across here to Cathcart, David Cathcart. He's on across the other side of the ground. He's there looking for Pappas. Pappas takes the cone. There's 3 Berwick blokes there, but there's no one back on their players down here, and they've got to clear on. It's the other Cathcart, Brian Cathcart, running into an open goal here. He tries to, he's caught! He's put the ball down with the umpire, play the club. It was well tackled by Tommy Crebin. Yeah, Crebin again gets it out to Ward. Ward, a long kick up the centre. And there was shepherding out there. Smith was shepherded out, but the umpire gave the mark to the Moorabbin player. He gets clear. He can't duck the ball. It's missed by Powers, who overruns it. The ball bounces there on the ground. It's all over. There's a scramble of play. Smith gets it out, looking for Allen. Allen gets a push in the back. He's grabbed around there, and he still can't get out.
Have a look, umpire! How many times are going to be pushed to the ground?
It's finally picked up, and there's the base caught. And the umpire calls play on it. Last, Tommy Crebin gets a kick. The ball hits the ground. There's 3 or 4 players going for it. No one there. It's beats them all over the ground, over the boundary. And it's in for a throw-in. Here's the boundary umpire to throw in right here, right in front of our commentary position. Luxford for Berwick goes for the knock. He gets the knock. It's taken by Dillon. No, he can't pick it up. It's picked up by the Moorabbin player. He gets it clear. There's a short kick pass, and he runs it. Oh, he threw the ball away. He didn't want it. But it's slowly again picked up by Sid Pappas. He kicks it in, but there's a nice mark by Matty Johnson. He gets the handball out to Shears. Shears looking for Allen again on that. Handball's across to Dillon. Dillon's got time to have a look. It's a short kick in looking for Powers. The ball goes, it doesn't bounce right for him. He can't pick it up. It's picked up by the Moorabbin defender. He handballs out, and he's caught. He's caught by the Berwick player, but unfortunately no free kick, and the ball goes on down the far wing side, and it'll go out of bounds in front of the Courtland News Agency sign. Here's our birthday boy walking across the ground down here in front of us, Marcus Johnson. Our great trainer just come off there after attending to another one of our players. Meanwhile, the ball over on the far flank. It's Moorabbin picking it up out of a scramble of players. There's 2 or 3 blokes dive on the ball. Kicks a kick out, and it's taken by Pappas, Sid Pappas for Moorabbin. He handballs on, taken by Atherton. He handballs further downfield, but it's Brown in front, but he gets a push in the back, and no, it was Shears. And the Moorabbin player gets clear and kicks 1 point. So that takes the score on 21-14, 140 Berwick to Moorabbin 14-13, 91.
Now with the ball is Ray Cook, the Berwick full back at this stage. He kicks it in right in, looking for Matt Johnson and Peter Allen. They're both going to fly, but he shepherds the Moorabbin player out of the road, and Peter Allen gets it, and he grabbed by the leg and nearly a trip. A bad kick from Allen then. I'm not too sure what Peter was thinking about, but anyway, it gets to the Moorabbin player, number 7. He gets it across here towards number 3 for them is Gary Atherton. Gary Atherton drops onto his right boot and lines them up, but it's gone right over there, and it'll only be 1 minor score for them, and 1 point for Moorabbin. They go on to 14-14, 98, trailing Berwick 21-14, 140 as the temperature drops here on the rooftop at the Big Arts Brown Reserve. And Ray Cook comes in again, drops on his right foot looking for Peter Allen, but from the back they can't do much, and it goes over there, and Jim McMaster's got the run of the ball and picks it up beautifully onto his right foot and kicks it out there. To a beautiful pass to Mick Dillon. Mick Dillon made position beautifully, and he wants to keep running on. Mick Dillon drives it in there, and there's Johnny McGreal onto the ground, the Mark Harvey look-alike in number 38 for the Wickers with the ball, took it on his chest, and he's got to go back and line him up. Johnny McGreal with the ball now. Comes in. Drops on his right foot again, and the nice kick. It's going off the line a little bit though, but I'll tell you what, the umpire says it's a goal. It's okay. You can hear the crowd roar. The big crowd 22-14, 146, leading Moorabbin 14-14, 98. No doubt about it, when the Wickers get on their own, John, they do make it look easy. Peter Allen there, after a small mistake, they cleared it away Berwick okay, and got it across there through, the ball came over the back of the pack. McMaster had the run of it. Went across to Mick Dillon. Mick Dillon goaled beautifully. Mike Tolong bounces it up high. Up it goes. Sid Pappas tries to take it. He does. He gets the ball okay, turns around and snaps it down there towards there where Richard Brown is, but it's picked up by Mick Shears. He handballs it across Brown. He's got the run of it now. He can't quite do much with it. Tommy Cribbins is in there again, always trying. He's going to get the free kick for not having the ball, for being held while not in possession, and Tommy Cribbins with the ball. Good kick again for Cribbins. Down it goes to Powles. He's taken a mark. He handballs it back across to Allen on his own. Another handball across to McGreal, who's made good position. He turns, drops onto his, he's pushed in the back, but he never had the ball. But anyway, umpire says play on. He's closer than me. After Pappas handballs back to his other player running past, and he drives it down there, and it's a good strong mark from Moorabbin on that far wing side. Handballs across to one of the Cathcart boys. He gets on his left foot kick. High in the air it goes across to Pollock. Pollock can't take it. Spoiled by McMaster down to the ground. It comes by Crevin. He handballs back to McMaster. McMaster running on now. Handballs it back across there to Richard Brown. Richard Brown on the far side of the ground takes one bounce. Then the run, kicks it in there on his right foot and drives it in. Here's Ward underneath the ball and takes a good mark. Rod Ward, anticipation was fantastic. Rod Ward with it. Handballs back to Venville. Venville back to Ward. Ward on his left foot kicks it out here. They're mucking around again. Berwick just kicking it across the ground. Here's young Smithy. Daryl Smith comes in, drives on his left foot, sends it into the goal, and I'll tell you what, he's kicked one. It hit the ground, bounced through, and it's another goal for the Wickers. Daryl Smith has kicked already today. One goal. That's his second goal for Smithy. 22-14, leading Moorabbin 14-14. The goal kickers for Berwick today have been Ian Owen 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 goals. Rod Ward with 1, Kevin Venville with 2, Daryl Smith with 2, Luxford with 1, Robbie Trigg with 1, and Mick Dillon has kicked 6. Back to you, Johnny.
The ball's bounced again in the centre. They've been playing 30 minutes into this quarter, so there can't be very much more time on to be played. And anyway, the ball's out there. It's tackled by McMaster for Berwick. He's tackled by Matt Johnson, and Matt Johnson's going to get the free kick. He handballs, it's not a good one to Shears. It's put us under a bit of pressure, but then Shears recovers, and there's Ray Crook out there in the back pocket. He kicks, looking for McMaster. There's something going on in the back. It's down the ground. The player ran into Crook after he cleared the ball, and McMaster will take the free kick on the half-back flank. on the stand side of the ground. Going across looking for Neville Powers at centre half forward. He can't mark it. The ball hits against McGreal. McGreal's high when he hasn't got the ball, but he's no free kick man now. He's found one this time to the Moorabbin player.
That's Gus Mercoulia.
Gus Mercoulia is number 5 of the Moorabbin. He kicks it out to centre looking for centre half forward. They all fly. Dustin the mark's not paid to Crebman. He thought he had it. And he fights on, but there's 3 Moorabbin players there. Handball's out here to Sid Pappas it is. He gets his right foot kicked to it. And there goes the siren. There's loads of siren. The final scores are Berwick winning the game 23-14, 152 to Moorabbin 14-14, 98. And our cameraman up here, Tom, looks frozen to death. He's quite happy the game's all over, but a good win to Berwick, Bruce.
Yeah, just for speaking of our cameraman, don't forget the video productions. They're the fellas that do the video for us, and the video is always sponsored by Barry Johnson of the Berwick Inn. Now, as the players come off the ground, I'd just like to make a few comments on the game. Our main goal kickers for Berwick, as I said, were Ian Owen with 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 goals. Mick Dillon with 6 goals. Rod Ward with 1, Venville 2, Smith 2, Peter Allen 2, Brett Luxford 1, Robert Trigg 1. Now, as far as I'm concerned, the awards for today from the broadcaster's point of view, I think John would have to go to the likes of Matt Johnson for a game all day. Tommy Crebman's a brilliant trier. There's nothing wrong with Ian Owen's 7 goals either, but the Berwick side in generally have performed well today. Dillon ran on all day. He's been mentioned, I think, Daryl Scott probably a little bit quieter in the last quarter, but since he got hurt, yeah, he went a bit quieter. But they're the Berwick best players, I think, John, you'd see, not in any particular order, but Johnson for sure, Scott, Dillon, Owen, Ward around the ground, although I thought Brett Luxford played a fair bit better in the second half than he was earlier when he came onto the ball. Who else did I have down here as... and I mentioned him. The other one was Peter Allen, the great captain, coached this game all day in the centre too. You mustn't forget him. As I look down the list, I think you'll find that we've nearly got them all. John, anybody that you think I might have missed?
No, I think you covered them pretty well there, Bruce. It was very noticeable that the half-back line this week, which we seem to be lacking a little bit last week, is a spring box of where we get our goals from, and having Matt back there makes a big difference.
Yeah, thanks Johnny, and thanks very much for your help up here on rooftop again. And it's got pretty cold, so I think we'll put a close to the game. I'm sure that Peter Allen saying a few words in there to the players. He'd be pleased with that win. Would you mind just putting the camera across the other side of the ground of those big chaps waving over there? A couple of supporters, and they're over there in John Dalgleish and John Sullivan. They might like to come down to Barry Johnson's Berwick Inn and have a look at themselves on this video and try a bit of cool ale. Alongside of them is the lovely Helen Redpath, I notice. Can you see that lady alongside them? Right, anyway, the goal umpires are going off the ground. It's all over here. Thanks very much, Tommy, for the video. Thanks, Barry, to all of you inside the rooms there. Thanks for a great day, and congratulations once again to the Berwick Football Club for a great win over Moorabbin here at the Archbound Reserve. That's Dick Tonks just saying goodbye as he comes off the ground there. One of the brains trust of the club, Dickie Tonks.